The world outside is fading into stillness. The rush, the noise, the endless demands of the day all slowly drift away. And now, in this quiet hour, you are invited to something holy, to rest in the calm of God's presence. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel your chest rise and fall. The air is cool and gentle, the light dim and soft. You don't have to do anything but be here, right here, in this moment, where God is already waiting. He knows the thoughts you've carried all day. He knows the weight that's been pressing on your heart. And yet, He offers peace, not a temporary escape, but a lasting calm that settles deep within. Let it fill you now. Each breath draws you closer to stillness. Each moment reminds you that peace isn't something you must find. It's someone you can rest in. God's presence is here steady, faithful, tender. So let go. Let the day end. Let your soul breathe again. And as you rest in Him, may your heart rediscover the calm it was made for. If these words bring peace to your spirit, please subscribe and share this space a quiet refuge, where together we rest, breathe, and find peace in His presence. I welcome you into this quiet space tonight. The light is soft. The room breathes slowly. A lamp casts a small pool of warmth. The world beyond the window fades to a hush. I sit with a Bible on my lap. The cover is worn at the edges. The pages are thin. A ribbon falls like a gentle marker. I hold it with care. I have come to read. I have come to keep watch with you for a little while. Settle where you are now. Allow the body to find a shape that feels safe. Rest the head. Loosen the shoulders. Let the hands fall heavy in the lap or by the sides. Notice the weight of the limbs. Let gravity do its quiet work. The chest moves in a steady rhythm. The breath is a simple tide. Follow it if it helps. Inhale calm. Exhale the day. No hurry is needed here. Time breathes slowly in this room. I speak in a low tone. The words are measured and plain. Each line comes like a small lamp. Listen, without trying to fix or understand everything. This time is not for solving. It is for receiving. It is for rest. The Bible rests open between us. Its pages have offered comfort for generations. Tonight, it offers the same. I do not demand answers. I offer presence. I hold the place as one who reads. You are invited to lean into the quiet. Let the eyelids soften. Let the jaw unclench. Soften the forehead. Feel the tiny muscles of the face relax. The shoulders fall away from the ears. A small ease settles along the neck. The hands relax. The fingers uncoil. The legs release into the surface beneath them. Each small loosening is a small gift. Receive them. I use the book as a quiet lamp. The words are slower than the day. Each sentence I read will be a breath. Each pause will be a space to rest. I choose passages that speak of mercy. I linger on phrases that carry hope. I avoid debate and argument. There is no need for proof tonight. The night asks only for comfort. The tone is gentle. The message is simple. You are seen. You are held. There is mercy. There may be noise beyond these walls. A distant car. A clock. wind at the window. Let them be part of the night. They do not disturb the heart that seeks rest. Allow the sounds to weave into the background. They are small now. They are not the whole story. The presence that the words point toward is steady. It does not hurry. It does not leave. Breathe with me for a moment. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold 1 quiet beat. Breathe out for 6. Feel that rhythm. Slow and steady. The body follows. The pulse slows. Thoughts unclench at the edges. If the mind wanders, that is natural. Notice the drift without judgment. Gently bring attention back. Return to the breath. Return to the sound of my voice as it becomes a steady harbor. Tonight we come with honest things. There may be fatigue. There may be grief. There may be quiet unrest. Bring these things to the space between the pages. You do not have to fix them. You do not have to explain them. Let them sit where they are and receive what mercy comes. The Bible I hold speaks to small and large sorrows alike. It speaks as one who draws near. The tone is soft. The answer is accompaniment, not confrontation. I will read in a measured pace. I will let words land and settle. I will give time for the heart to receive. Sometimes I pause for a long breath. Sometimes I let silence hold the meaning for a while. No hurry is allowed in these silences. They are places where the Spirit breathes. They are places where hope can take root in small and patient ways. If tears come, let them come. If a quiet smile rises, hold it. If sleep arrives, welcome it. Each response is a gift of the night. There is no tally. There is no judgment. Mercy is not measured by the size of the feeling. Mercy meets what is present. Love reaches into the ordinary. Hope settles in the small places where courage is needed. I imagine the room like a chapel made small. The furniture becomes pews. The lamp becomes a candle. The Bible becomes a simple book opened in the center. We gather not in ceremony, but in comfort. I read from this place of care. The language is plain. The images are gentle. Think of a river that flows slow and cool. Think of a hand that steadies when the footing is uncertain. These images are not distant ideas. They are small, reachable visions of mercy. There is a hush that comes when listening deeply. It is a quiet pulled around the ears. Notes of the world fall away. Noise becomes a soft background wash. In that hush, words have room to breathe. They enter softly and take up space. Allow this hush to gather now. Let it be a cloak. Let it hold whatever you carry. I keep the reading free of heavy argument. The aim is solace. The aim is assurance. The tone is like a bedside manna. It soothes. It reassures. It reminds gently. The words I choose are like steady footsteps leading to a safe place. They do not rush. They do not push. They guide with patience. At times I will name the simple truths. Love arrives, even when fear is present. Mercy meets failure with openness. Hope can begin as a small pulse in the chest. These are not theories. They are bedside truths. They sit beside you like a lamp. They are steady when the room feels unsteady. You might wonder what to do with restless thoughts. Let them be like leaves floating on a stream. Notice each one. Then return your mind to the breath. Return it to the present sound. There is no need to chase details. This hour is generous. It is patient. It allows the heart to unclench one small degree at a time. I will read slowly enough that you can follow without strain. I will pause, so silence can do its work. I will not rush the night toward an answer. The healing that comes in such moments is often slow. It burrows quietly. It rearranges small things. It makes room for sleep. It makes room for hope to return in gentle increments. If you are lying down, feel the surface under you. Notice the points of contact. If you are seated, notice the support at your back. Let the body know the support is reliable. The hands can rest. The head can lean. The legs can be heavy. Each contact is a small reassurance. Let it be felt. I speak as one who reads these words to the bedside. The role is a humble one. It is not a performance. It is a care. It is a practice of leaning in and offering voice. My voice is not the source. It is a bridge. The source is a larger tenderness. I guide gently toward it. In that tenderness, there is room for all that you bring. There is no rush to move forward. We stay in the now. We sit with what is present, and we allow healing to do its quiet work. The book lies open. The light is steady. The breath is slow. The night holds us. When the mind tightens at the memory of a hard day, breathe into it. Name it quietly in your heart. Offer it as you would a bruise to a tender hand. Let mercy touch that place. No need to explain. No need to fix. Mercy can reach without words. Hope can form like a small seed in shaded soil. It does not demand sunlight to start. It begins in gentle darkness. If sleep comes before the reading finishes, know this: the night continues to do its work. The words still fall like rain where comfort is needed. Rest is not a sign of giving up. It is a sign of surrendering to care. Sleep is part of healing. Let it wash over you if it arrives. We will move slowly through this program. Each part is a small step. Tonight we begin with this first step. It is an invitation. It is a settling. It is a soft opening of the heart toward rest. The next passages will follow with the same steadiness. Each section is meant to cradle and to soothe. Now, when you feel ready, close the eyes if that feels safe. If not, keep them soft and lowered. I keep my hand near the page. I breathe with the rhythm we have set. The lamp holds its glow. The room keeps its hush. The book waits for the first line. I open the Bible now. My voice is low. We enter this night together. I turn the page slowly. The paper whispers under my thumb. The lamp throws a soft circle of light. I begin to read, not with sharp argument, but with plain speech. The lines move like small boats on a calm sea. A voice comes through these pages that calls for comfort. It asks that a path be made level where the heart has been uneven. High places ease. Deep hollows lift. The notion is simple. The road becomes gentle for tired feet. Imagine a path smoothed by steady hands. The journey feels lighter when the ground gives way to rest. I speak the image aloud, because images help the mind unclench. Picture a desert turning green at the first rain. Picture rough stones worn into round pebbles. Mercy works like water in that way. It arrives slowly, and it shapes the hard places. It does not hurry. It does not demand a public display. It touches the inside where quiet mending happens. The words turn toward a strength that seems restful rather than loud. There is a kind of power that does not press or strain. It comes like an eagle in calm air. Wings open wide and carry. Those who grow weary find new length for their steps. Muscles loosen. The chest breathes deeper. Hope settles like a warm cloth. I guide the breath with the voice. Inhale a light that feels like dawn. Hold that soft beat. Exhale what is heavy. Let the rhythm slow the rush of thought. The page is a metronome. Each sentence becomes a measured breath. Each pause becomes a place to let the heart settle. There is a line that reminds me of being known. The maker of stars counts them and calls them by name. That image is not meant to tidy every question. It is meant to rest the soul in a fact. Nothing is too small to be noticed. If a creator counts the stars, then the small daily things count as well. The thought comforts when the night brings loneliness. It suggests that the small, quiet corners of life are not unseen. A promise follows in quiet form. Where fear blooms, a hand reaches. Where shame gathers, light moves in like a slow dawn. This is not a demand for perfection. It is an offer to be called back into a steadier space. The invitation is gentle. There is no score to keep, only the steady presence that cares. I read about an invitation to come with hunger. There is a picture of a table set, of something warm and simple, offered without price. The idea is that nourishment for the soul is not a transaction. It is a gift. One need only come and receive. The mind can imagine sitting at the edge of that table. The hands can relax. The feet can stop the restless pacing. Words return to the theme of listening. The night often needs a soft ear more than a loud answer. To listen is to allow sound to do its work. The voice of the page asks for attention that is calm and small. It asks that the listener hold fewer tasks for a while. Let care rest. Let the need to fix unlearn its urgency. Sitting quietly is itself a kind of prayer. I steer away from debate and heavy explanation. The aim is not to win an argument. The aim is to hold a lamp for the one whose eyes grow tired. There is mercy enough in the pages for small failures and large ones. Grace arrives without interrogating every choice. It receives what comes and breathes patience into the places that ache. Sometimes an image of returning appears. People come back from wandering. Roads bring them home. This return is gentle. It is not a fireworks moment. It feels like a key sliding into a familiar lock. The body exhales. The shoulders drop. The heart unclenches with a tiny, relieved sound. Home is a simple word in the quiet. It holds rest without too much explanation. I let silence come long enough to mean something. Silence is not empty. It is fertile ground. In that quiet, the images I have read take root. A seed of peace presses against the dark soil and waits. Growth often begins where lights are low. Hope can start as a whisper and then tilt toward morning. The book speaks of words that do what they intend, like rain that soaks the earth. these words do not return void. Think of a small act of kindness that seems to vanish into the day. Later, it becomes a river for another life. A single sentence offered in patience can be the root of calm. The night holds such small seeds. I linger on the thought that needing rest is not failing. Rest is a work of trust. Lying down or closing the eyes is a practice. It is a decision to allow support where striving once stood. The room takes that as a signal. The lamp does not judge. The book continues to speak in gentle lines. If memories cut like a sudden chill, name them softly in the mind. Let them be like leaves that pass on a stream. Notice each one without hauling it ashore. Return to the warm image from the page. The steady presence at the center of the book does not flee when faults appear. It waits with a patient hand. I read of the one who calls by name and claims without shame. The language is careful and tender. It does not shout from a distance. It bends down close. That bending is the most human sort of mercy. It meets the small of the back, where burdens press, and says, with no harshness, "Come." The voice is reliable. It does not vanish when the world grows loud. There are plain commands in the text, but they are soft. They invite rather than coerce. Come. Seek. Listen. The tone is like a parent at the bedside, not a lectern. The words do not aim to fix all wrongs in a single night. They ask for small, steady responses. Turn the attention toward what steadies. Drink from what is offered. Let the mind be shaped by gentleness. As I read, images of creation return. Seas and skies are not indifferent. They are ordered with care. That order suggests a mind that keeps watch. If the world is tended, then the small human story is included. In that keeping, the thought comforts like a warm blanket placed over shoulders that tremble. I slow the syllables even more now. Each one becomes a small bell. Each bell calls the attention back to the present moment. The lamp seems to listen as well. The room grows deeper in hush. Breathing lengthens. If sleep comes, I will lower my voice and let the pages keep murmuring. If eyes stay open, I will continue to hold the lamp and read at the same slow pace. Either way, the night is working. Mercy is doing its quiet work, whether waking or sleeping. Before I close this part, I fold the thought of hope like a small cloth and place it where it can be found in the dark. It is not a promise that removes struggle immediately. It is a steady truth that the past does not have the final word. Newness can begin in a single, patient breath. I mark the page with the ribbon. The place rests. The lamp does not go out. I ease the book closed enough to keep the night from feeling bare. There is calm in this careful pause. I will return with the next section. When you are ready, for now, let the hush do its work. Let the breath lengthen. Let mercy sit beside the heart and hold it until morning comes. I turn the page and let the light rest on the letters. The paper is warm from my hand. The room keeps its hush. Tonight the passage leans toward an invitation. It reads like a small, careful knocking at the door. The knocking is gentle. The tone asks for a moment of reason, a moment of honest looking It does not demand. It invites. A simple image comes first. Imagine a garment that has taken on the day. Stains press into the weave. The fabric holds the history of long hours. Bring that image close. Now imagine a basin of warm water. Not hot, just warm enough to loosen the edges of fatigue. A hand moves in circles. The stains begin to lift. That movement is like the offer before us, a chance to cleanse without shame. The work is not performed by harsh judgment. It happens by steady care. The idea of reasoning together feels tender in the dark. Reason here is not a lecture. It is a conversation. A voice bends down to listen and to speak without hurry. It says, "Come and let us look at this together." The words open a small space where truth can be named and met with mercy. In that space, mistakes do not become anchors. They become things that can be cleaned and set aside. I imagine the dirt turning pale and floating away. Tiny flakes drift like pale feathers. The motion is slow. The basin catches what dissolves. The hands rinse and lift. The cloth emerges lighter. The heart can imagine the same process. Worry and regret loosen under gentle tending. That loosening does not erase memory, but it eases the weight. Breathing helps the mind follow the image. Breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Hold a soft beat. Breathe out for 6 counts. Repeat this pattern a few times. Each exhale lets a small grain of worry loosen its hold. The rhythm matches the washing hands. In, hold, out. The pattern steadies the mind, the way a steady hand steadies fabric. There is also a picture of color changing. Once, dark places become pale and clean. The change is not sudden like a flame. It is slow like dawn. A pale blue tilts toward morning. The thought comforts because newness sometimes arrives quietly. It does not always announce itself. It appears gradually. An honest shift that is easy to miss unless the eye rests. This invitation to cleanse carries a gentle assurance. If the night brings regret, it is welcome here. If there is a secret that presses, it is welcome too. The welcome is not a curtain drawn shut over fault. It is a hand that receives the burden and holds it with care. Imagine placing a heavy sack on a table. The shoulders relax immediately. The weight is not gone, but the body is relieved by the rest. That table is steady. The hands of mercy stand ready. As I read, the thought of reasoning together feels like company beside a fire. 2 people bend their heads over a map. They point out the paths with quiet voices. There is no scolding. There is only guidance. The map here is a small book that has been opened many times. Its lines are worn, but it still shows the way. The way leads back into steadiness. Failure appears in the pages, but it is met with an offered exchange. Imagine a soiled sleeve traded for a clean one. The trade is not a bargain where worth is measured. It is a giving of what heals. The gesture removes the label of unworthiness. It allows the body to feel warmth again. In that exchange is an invitation to stand differently. Shoulders flatten. The chest breathes easier. I slow the syllables so the ear can catch the weight of each word. The lamp makes a small circle on the page. Outside, night holds its own breath. Inside, This small act of reading becomes an offering. The voice here is calm and steady. Each sentence is a place to rest. Each pause is a space for the heart to settle. The text I read does not press for a long confession. It asks for an honest look. Honesty is not a fierce tearing of open old wounds. It is a naming, say the small, true things to the quiet. Say them without rehearsal. Say them like notes, dropped into a bowl. The bowl is not judgmental. It is a place that accepts and holds. Imagine also a field after rain. Trampled soil softens. Tiny shoots tilt towards the light. The metaphor is small and immediate. Change sometimes begins where the ground is soft. When the heart is tender, small shifts can grow into strength. These shifts do not require effortless bravery. They require attention. They require a willingness to be near the cleansing water. The notion of forgiveness here is simple and plain. It is like washing a child's hands after play. The hands are not judged for being dirty. The hands are washed because hands need washing. The act itself has care built into it. Mercy is practical. It meets the need. If shame rises in the night, let it be named gently. Name it as one would name an ache. Put a hand to it. Hold it long enough to feel the pulse. Then offer that ache to the clear basin. The motions are slow and faithful. The shame does not evaporate at once. It lightens. Step by step, that lightening is real. There is a steady invitation to reason, not a demand to defend. The request feels like a steady friend saying, "Come, let us talk this through." That friend does not tally failures. Instead, the friend offers a way to reorder the heart. The tone is kind. The posture is open. That openness makes it safe to place burdens down. In the reading, small directives appear. Come. Reason. Be willing. They arrive as soft commands. They are more like gestures than strict rules. The gestures point toward rest. They guide toward a posture of receiving rather than striving. The night grows more hospitable when the body stops arguing with its need for care. I fold the image of cleanness into a domestic scene. A towel waits on a hook. Steam rises from the basin. The towel is warm and waiting. Wrapping in that towel is an act of tender acceptance. It does not pretend the wash made everything perfect. It speaks to the ordinary grace of being cared for after toil. The towel dries the small spots of cold. It does not demand immediate vigor. It allows the body to settle. There is also a soft warning about pretending. Pretending to be clean is different from being cleaned. A pressed facade hides the real texture of the soul. The book favors honesty over polished appearance. The night asks for truth, told quietly. The telling is not theatrical. It is humble and straightforward. As the lamp flickers, the reading takes a stiller tone. The pages pause on mercy that is patient. Patience is its own kind of comfort. It does not force change. It waits and works in small ways. That slow work often lasts. It shapes the edges of the heart with steady hands. If eyes grow heavy, let them close. The images will linger like soft light behind the lids. If thoughts come, let them pass like clouds. Keep breathing the measured rhythm. In hold. Out. The breath carries the picture of hands washing away burden. With each exhale, a little more weight leaves the shoulders. I will keep this page marked. The ribbon falls neatly between the leaves. There is a small intention in the pause. The pause is not an end, but a holding place. Mercy remains present in that hold. In the morning, or in the next quiet hour, the reading will continue. Tonight, the invitation is accepted with the slow readiness of someone who lays down a load on a table and feels their back unknot a little. I close this part with a small benediction in the quiet of the room. May the image of clean hands and a warm towel rest near the heart. May reason be a gentle companion. May forgiveness feel like the basin that receives without counting. The lamp keeps its glow. The book waits. When you are ready, we will open it again. For now, let the hush and the breathing do their work. I turn the page with a careful thumb. The lamp humming is the room's only small sound. The book opens to a passage that promises new strength. The lettered lines feel like an invitation to rest in motion. I do not read to fix things. I read to hold hope plainly. Listen as I read a text that pictures soaring. It speaks of rising on strong wings. The image is quiet and immediate. Picture an eagle on a wind. The bird rests in the current and then lifts with no frantic flapping. The ascent is steady. The effort is not frantic. It is confident, because the bird does not fight the air. It waits for the updraft and then allows itself to be carried. We take that image close. Imagine lying on a hillside. The whole body relaxes into the ground. Yet there is a knowing that when the wind finds the place, rising will feel easy. Waiting is not a passive absence. It is a posture. It is a readiness that keeps the body open to lift. The limbs soften. The chest opens. A small relaxation makes room for strength that comes in its own timing. The passage also suggests running without weariness. The running is an image of steady endurance. It is not the breathless sprint. It is a paced movement along a long, level road. Each footfall is measured. Each step knows the next will follow. Picture the feet on a soft path. The stones do not cut at the ankles. The path supports the soles. Endurance here is calm. It is a slow accumulation of motion that becomes strength. There is a line about walking without fainting. That picture settles in the quiet of the room. Walking implies deliberate steps. The gait is even. The journey may be long, but it is not desperate. A companion may walk beside the traveler. That companion is steady and unhurried. The notion comforts when nights feel long. It says that the heart need not be frantic to make progress. I read these images slowly. Each phrase lands like a soft foot on a wooden floor. The room holds them. Breathe with them. Inhale like a widening wing. Hold a gentle pause. Exhale the tightness. The rhythm of breath and image matches. The breath becomes an act of waiting, not merely of survival. Waiting upon the Lord, in the tone of the text, looks like a surrender of haste. It is a decision to stop pulling at doors that are closed. It is an ease of the hands and a trust that something steadier will move. That trust is not blind. It is the small faith that the morning comes because the night does not last forever. This is not a demand for immediate rescue. It is a quiet assurance that renewal comes in its season. The mind will sometimes ask for proof in that quiet. Thoughts may press, wanting action instead of patience. If that is where the mind goes, name it briefly. Say to the thought, I see you. Let it pass. Return to the image of wings and to the steady in-breath that fills the chest slowly. The act of noticing calms the rush enough for the waiting to be real. I imagine the body as a garden that has endured a long season. The soil is tired and holds old roots. Rain is promised, but not all at once. The first drops soak the parched topsoil. The new green does not explode overnight. It uncurls slowly. Renewal is that slow return of color. It begins at the edges and then spreads. The promise is not instant transformation. It is careful return. There is a gentleness in the idea that strength is renewed, not manufactured. It arrives through rest that is active in its patience. The heart loosens. The limbs find their ease. The mind stops tallying failures and begins to notice small recoveries. A morning without dread, a hand that unclenches, a smile that lifts without explanation. These are the small returns that mean something in the long run. If worry presses into the ribs like a small stone, place it on the table in the imagination. Lay it down and let the hands be free. The act of setting down is a kind of waiting. It loosens the shoulders. It creates space for the current that will lift if allowed. The stone remains real, but the body learns that it need not carry it alone all night. The text I hold speaks in the voice of a close companion. It does not demand a dramatic confession or loud repentance. It calls for a turning of attention. Come tua quiet place. Rest there. Expect renewal. That expectation is not arrogance. It is trust. Trust opens the body to be healed gently. I read the words with a light cadence. Each sentence is a small bell. Let the sound be a marker. When the sentence ends, stop and feel where the breath sits. The pause is as important as the words themselves. The silence after speech is a place where the promise can settle. Allow it to do so. There is freedom in permitting weakness, to be honest. The passage does not shame fatigue. It names it plainly and then offers something patient and practical in response. The response is like a long exhale after a held breath. The relief is small, but steady. Over time, those small reliefs build into courage for a new day. Think of an old blanket tucked into a chair. It keeps its warmth even when the room cools. When hands fold it, the fabric offers warmth again. Strength sometimes functions like that blanket. It stores quiet warmth. Waiting becomes the act of holding the blanket close until the chest remembers comfort. The memory of warmth kindles new motion. The promise is not a fine print that requires perfect conditions. It meets the worn and the hopeful alike. The one who waits may carry scars. Those scars do not disqualify. They are not obstacles that cancel renewal. They are part of the map. Renewal respects them. It moves around them and through them. That movement is gentle and wise. If sleep comes while these images still breathe, Allow it. Sleep is part of the renewal. The body repairs in the quiet. Dreams sometimes stitch loose edges. The page keeps its place. The lamp will burn a steady pool of light until the reading resumes, or until the night deepens further. Either way, the promise does its work, whether eyes are open or closed. If eyes stay open, fold the image of the eagle into the shape of your chest. Imagine wings that are broad and patient. They do not flap in panic. They hold a calm steadiness. Let the ribs expand into that steadiness. Let the shoulders drop with emotion. Feel how much lighter the neck becomes when it does not have to carry tension. There is also a quiet insistence in the text on perseverance, not a noisy, strained push, a slow, faithful pressing forward, the kind of pressing that remembers storm seasons have passed before, the kind that knows there is a rhythm to the world and that human hearts can be tuned to it. The tuning takes attention and rest. I mark the passage with the ribbon. The page rests open for just a moment longer. I let the light linger on the paper. The room holds a hush like a small breath. The promise of renewal settles there. Patient and sure, it asks only for a posture of waiting that is not empty, but attentive. Before closing the book, I lay a small blessing into the space between us. May the night carry the image of steady wings. May the promise of renewed strength rest near the heart through the long hours. May waiting be a quiet readiness rather than a heavy pause. May hope, soft and persistent, find purchase in the chest. The lamp keeps its glow. The page waits for the next night to open again. For now, let the body become still. Let the breath keep its slow measure. Let the promise be a small light to hold on to until the morning comes. I settle the Bible in my lap and breathe with you. The page rests open, where a finger marks the line. I read slowly the thought that comes from Isaiah. I say it in plain words God remembers. He is your comfort. His tenderness is wider than any trouble the day could make. He is with you even in the silence of the night that stretches long and thin. That silence can feel sharp. It can feel like an empty room pressed close. Yet here, in that same silence, I name another thing. There is a presence like a steady hand laid across the small noise in the chest. It does not shout. It does not force. It keeps company. The comfort is not a loud fix. It is a quiet staying that makes the edges less hard. Listen to the way the words sit. They spread like a soft cloth over things that ache. Imagine a dark hillside. The stars do not solve the cold. They simply sit and glimmer. Their light is calm. It does not hurry the day. In that calm, warmth gathers. You can imagine that warmth brushing the skin. It is not a cure of all things at once. It is a relief for this moment. I encourage you to place one hand where you feel the breath in the chest. Feel the rise. Feel the fall. Keep this small contact. It anchors the moment. It makes presence less like an idea and more like touch. If the mind pulls away, return without judgment to that hand. Return to the simple weight of it. Here is a small pattern to steady the body. Breathe in for 3 slow counts. Hold 1 quiet count. Breathe out for 5 soft counts. Let the exhale be the longer part. Each out-breath loosens a little edge. Repeat this a few times. Let the rhythm be a drum that keeps the heart from rushing. The thought I read tonight says, comfort outruns trouble. Picture a deep well under the ground. The wind above can be a storm. The well holds still, and the water underneath does not know the same clamor. Its surface is clear. It echoes a depth that the wind cannot touch. God's comfort is like that depth. Surface noise may lash, but deep calm remains. Problems do not always vanish when comfort arrives. Sometimes they only change shape. The room can still hold the throb of worry. The mind can still churn like a small sea. The promise is that someone larger than the sea leans into that space and steadies the horizon. That steadying changes how the waves feel from the shore. It does not deny the waves. It supports the shore that receives them. Sit with that image for a moment. Imagine a keeper who sits at the bedside. There is no hurry in the keeper's hands. He listens with a steady ear. He does not tally faults. He does not remind of failures. He only watches and holds. To be watched in that way is not a verdict. It is care. The heart finds room to uncoil. I tell you this because the night can bring small accusations. It can replay the day's edges. When those thoughts come, do not chase them. Let them be like footsteps that pass in the hall. Notice them. Let them continue. Return to the hand on the chest. Return to the quiet count of breath. There is another image I keep close. Think of an old harbor. Boats have weathered many waves. They are tied to a pier that does not demand they sail. The pier simply keeps them safe. The ropes do not yank. They hold with patience. Mercy is like that pier. It does not shove the ship back into travel. It offers a steady berth. If gentleness feels strange, allow it to feel awkward. Strange can be a good doorway. A small part of the body will loosen at the first brush of kindness. Trust that small part. Let it lead. Let the rest follow slowly. The work of comfort often moves in tiny increments. It accumulates like soft rain that does not make noise but fills the ground. Sometimes your mind will ask for reasons. It will want evidence, a list to check off. In the hush of the night, I do not press you with proof. I offer what I can hold in my voice, assurance that you are not alone. The evidence is not loud. It is a steady story that repeats itself in gentle acts. Often it shows up as a small easing, a breath that carries less weight, a shoulder that falls away from the ear. If shame tempts you to keep the lid on what you feel, imagine setting a lantern on the table. The light does not expose for disgrace. It simply allows you to see what is already there. Under that light, knots relax. The eyes find their line. A task that seemed impossible becomes a single step. This is the kind of seeing that mercy offers. It is practical and kind. I remember a quiet evening when the city hummed beyond my window. I felt small and blunt. I opened a page and let my eyes rest on words about comfort. I did not find an argument. I found presence. That presence stayed with me into the night. I slept with the image of someone who did not leave at midnight. I share that memory not to make a promise you must prove. I share it because small witnesses matter in long nights. Allow your body to settle more deeply. Now, find a place where bones meet mattress or chair. Let the places of contact hold you. Notice any tension in the jaw or in the belly. Imagine that tension as a tight knot. Picture the knot loosening like a shoelace untying. The motion is slow. It does not snap. It eases. The relaxation moves outward from the knot. God's comfort surpasses earthly trouble in the sense that it holds a wider view. A hand can hold both the small ache and the larger story at once. It does not pretend pain is absent. It promises a company that endures beyond the moment. Think of a long road and a companion walking with a lamp. The lamp does not carry away the distance. It makes each step visible, safe, and possible. If sleep comes before the reading finishes, let it come. Sleep is part of the comfort. It is not a failure. It is a surrender to care. The breaths will continue to slow. The presence I have named will not stop because eyes close. The keeper at the bedside continues to watch. The lamp of kindness stays lit in the margin of the mind. If wakefulness remains, hold the thought of being accompanied. Place both hands over the heart. Feel the pulse like a steady drum. Each beat is a small assurance. The rhythm is a conversation that does not require words. Allow it to be a proof of being alive and held. I will not push you to sums or answers. Tonight is for quiet tending. The scriptures I read sit like a field left to winter. Under the frost, life rests and gathers strength. The promise is not immediate bloom. It is patient return. In the morning, or in the next calm hour, green will appear. For now, permit the rest. As I mark the page, I do it with care. The ribbon falls between the leaves like a soft seam. I close the cover just enough to keep the place. My hand lingers there. The gesture is small and deliberate. It is a benediction in motion beheld. Be kept. Be comforted. Before I rise, I offer a quiet blessing. May the presence that surpasses trouble sit close in the night. May it breathe peace into the places that ache. May you rest in the company of a care that does not demand, but simply keeps. May the silence be a room of mercy, rather than a mirror of fear. When you are ready, let the eyes close. Let the breath find its slow drum. I will be here again. The book will open, and the steady reading will continue. For now, sink into the hush. Let the comfort that outstrips the day find a seat beside you. Let it keep watch through the long hours until morning lifts its first small light. I turn the page with a slow thumb. The lamp keeps its round pool of light. My voice is low. I read again from that patient place in the book. The line that follows is a steady call. Do not be afraid. You are named. You belong. Fear is a small animal sometimes. It creeps close in the dark. It presses its weight on the chest. It makes the breath quick and the shoulders high. I do not ask you to push it away by force. I show a soft way to meet it. I invite you to notice it. Name it gently. Let it be seen. Imagine a hand that says your name. It is not a list of titles. It is a sound that fits the smallest part of you. That naming is a recognition that you matter. It holds you in a single, certain phrase. The truth of being called steadies the heart. The storm outside continues, but a voice leans close and reminds the room of you. I ask you to place one hand where you feel the breath most clearly. Press lightly against the ribs or the sternum. Feel the rise. Feel the fall. The hand is an anchor. The palm is a small proof of presence. Breathe with that proof. In for 3 counts. Hold for 1. Out for 6. Let the long exhale empty the tightness. Repeat until the shoulders lower. There is a promise under the words I read. It is not a grand rescue in fireworks. It is a quiet ownership like a quilt folded at the foot of the bed. When someone takes a thing and calls it theirs, carry follows. The thing is tended. The thing is kept. Imagining belonging like this calms the mind that insists on proving worth. Picture a child on a threshold. The house behind is warm. The night outside is wide. A steady voice calls across the yard. The child looks up, hears the name, and steps back toward the porch. The step is small. It is safe. The night still breathes. But the porch light holds a place to return. Belonging is that light. Fear often arrives with a list. It reads the day backward and makes a long ledger. Let the ledger rest. Set it on a table in the mind. Look at one line only. Say aloud, if that feels safe, the one honest word you carry. Offer it into the space without argument. The act of naming softens the sharp angles of worry. The passage I read invites a simple exchange. Release the burden you hold alone. Lay it down. I do not mean a theatrical surrender. I mean a small placing of the hands on the table and letting the shoulders drop. The hands remain. The burden moves. The motion is tiny, but it changes what the back must hold through the night. I put another image beside it. Picture a shepherd at dusk. The sheep pressing close. The shepherd does not count worth by looks. Each animal is guided by a familiar touch. A crook turns a wayward neck. A cloak warms a chilled body. Care is practical. It meets the small needs first. This sketch comforts because it is quiet and hands-on. If doubt steps forward and asks for proof, meet it gently. Proof sometimes looks for loud signs. In the hush of evening, proof can be a steady presence. Watch the lamp. See how the light keeps its place, though wind moves the curtains. The lamp keeps its work without drama. That quiet constancy is a kind of proof. When fear tightens at the base of the skull, move the jaw. Let the teeth part. Let the tongue relax. Small muscular loosening sends a signal to the rest of the body. The tension is not required. It is a small, practical work. The Bible I read likes practical acts. Wash a hand in warm water. Fold a blanket. These small things show mercy in motion. Sometimes I ask you to imagine a safe room. The walls are simple and kind. They do not demand explanations. A single chair waits. A window opens to a small star. Sit there in the imagination. Feel the chair hold you. Let the window remind you the world is wide beyond the worry. Yet the room is enough for now. Enough is a powerful word at night. I keep returning to breathing because it is honest and immediate. Try a different pattern now. Breathe in 4 counts. Hold 2. Breathe out for 7. Let the exhale stretch more. This longer out-breath teaches the nervous system to soften. Each exhale is a small permission, slip to relax. If your mind wanders to old guilt or new anxiety, do not gaze into detail. Imagine a book with many pages. Take a single page and write the small truth: I am seen. Close the book gently. Put it on a shelf. The shelf is not a hiding place. It is a place that keeps things where they belong, so the hands are free to rest. I read words that ask for trust in a tone that is not demanding. The voice in the scripture leans close. It does not hurl commands from a distance. It bends to the bedside. The posture is intimate. The care is particular. That closeness matters because it changes fear from a public accusation to a private tending. A harbor appears in the next image. Boats toss in a storm offshore. But a pier holds a line taut and quiet. A rope is strong enough to keep the boat from drifting. That rope is tender. It becomes an emblem of steady ties in the night. If you carry a long list of fears, picture them tied together and laid beside the dock. The rope is not judgment. It is support. I will not press you to a sudden faith that banishes every worry. The book I keep does not promise instant erasure. It offers a companion who stays when the issues are messy. The presence waits through the night. That waiting is the work of love. It does not hurry the human heart. It accompanies it. If tears come now, let them. They are not failures. They are a way the body moves tension out. If a small, quiet smile comes instead, hold it. The smile is a witness that the night admits softness. Both tears and smiles are acceptable. Both are held by the same hand I have been naming. Imagine being carried for a short stretch, not forever, just the part where steps fail. A shoulder lifts. A back straightens. The act is gentle and brief. Being carried is not shameful. It is practical. It allows the muscles to rest and remember how to stand again. Let the thought of being carried rest like a warm cloth over a tired shoulder. There is a reassurance tucked in the text that fear is not the final word. The narrative of the day does not crown the night. The night is not the judge. A larger story threads through both. It is patient and wide. It gathers small moments and arranges them into care. That perspective does not erase pain, but it gives a new frame to hold it. I close this part with a simple practice. Put one hand over your heart and the other on the belly. Breathe slowly. Feel both places move. Whisper nothing. Just count the breaths until the thought of fear loses its edge. The body will follow the breathing. The heart will echo the calm. The night will keep its slow work. I mark the page with a ribbon and let the paper rest. The lamp remains. The room stays quiet. I pause in this small place between words and the world. When you are ready, we will open the book again. For now, rest with the knowing that you are named. You are held, and you are kept through the long hours. Let that keep your shoulders soft and your breath long until morning. I turn the page and settle the Bible back into my lap. The lamp keeps its small circle of light. The room listens. The word at the top of the page reads like a gentle promise forgiveness. Through understanding, I read that line and let it sit between us. The phrase opens like a window. Forgiveness is not sudden. It often arrives like a slow season. It looks less like fireworks and more like thawing. I do not mean forgetting. I mean learning the shape of a thing until the sharp edges feel smaller. Understanding is the hand that eases the hurt. It does not excuse harm. It explains the context that created it. In that explanation, mercy finds room to move. Picture a garden gate. It is scratched and weathered. Someone passed through it in a hurry. The latch got bent. The gate does not lock easily. No. Stand with me beside the gate for a while. Look where the metal bent. See the handprints on the wood. Notice the footprints in the path beyond. The gate's damage tells a story. That story holds small details. Knowing the details changes the way the gate appears. It does not make the damage vanish, but it changes the voice used to name it. Understanding means learning the story behind the action. When anger or hurt comes, the mind often wants a quick verdict, but a verdict hurts as a closing. Understanding opens. Imagine untying a knot in a rope. If the fingers yank, the knot tightens. If the fingers trace the loops and loosen one by one, the knot softens and gives. Forgiveness works like that, tracing. It is tender, patient, and very practical. Let the breath follow this image. Inhale calmly for 3 counts. Hold 1 soft beat. Exhale for 6. Repeat that rhythm. With each exhale, let 1 small jag of anger ease its grip. The rhythm moves like hands at work. Slow motion untangles the tight places. Forgiveness toward others often begins with quietly seeing. Picture a child on a street corner, small and shivering. Behind the child, a life has shaped panic and need. The action that hurt may have come from fear or from a long series of bad nights. Seeing that does not change what happened. It changes the posture toward it. The gaze softens. A different question comes: what wounded this person so that they could wound another? Understanding asks for a story, not a sentence. There is room for forgiveness of self in this same way. Guilt tightens the shoulders and colors the night. It becomes a small, persiste drame. To forgive oneself is to sit quietly and name the limit. It is to admit fatigue. It is to confess the small ways strength ran out. That confession is not a long speech for punishment. It is a brief, honest accounting. From there, mercy can enter. Picture an old tree with many rings. Some rings hold drought. Some hold growth. The tree is whole because the rings tell the truth of the season. The truth does not disqualify the tree. It explains the pattern of life. When shame presses, do as more practice. Take a quiet breath. Place a hand over the place where the chest rises. Let the warmth of that hand be like a simple acknowledgement. This part of me is tired. Speak 1 soft sentence in the mind: I am known. The sentence is a key. It does not open everything at once. It loosens enough for the next breath. Understanding usually asks for listening. That kind of listening is not a long argument. It is a careful attention. Picture 2 people at a table. One has a candle. The candle makes a small circle of light. They take turns telling the small facts of the day. No flourish, no the things. Just the plain detail of events. The act of telling becomes a slow clearing. It rearranges blame into a story. In that rearrangement, forgiveness can find purchase. A Bible phrase I hold close to this thought speaks of bearing burdens together. The image is gentle and domestic. Imagine a sack of grain. Alone it is heavy. Shared between two hands, it becomes manageable. Forgiveness is a sharing of burdens in a way that does not erase responsibility. It simply refuses to make burden into identity. The sin or the failure is one part of the story, not the whole book. There is a practical way to practice this at night. Think of a single name that presses on the mind, either your own or another's. Picture that name written on a small leaf. Drop that leaf into a slow stream. Watch it float a little and go out of sight. The act is symbolic, not magical. The heart learns by images. The mind accepts an action. It can follow. Release in the imagination helps the muscles of the body relax. Forgiveness through understanding also requires steady patience. It is a long stitch rather than a sudden seam. Do not expect it all tonight. Relief may come as a slow easing in the jaw. A small clearing in the chest may appear after several breaths. These are real. They count. Allow them to be slow and patient. The night practices small returns. If anger is of faces, do not take it as failure. Anger is a signal. It points. Follow it gently. Ask what the anger is guarding. Often the answer will be fear, grief, or a sense of being diminished. Understanding these roots is like tracing a culprit back to a different culprit. The original harm shifts into a more human place. When the place is human, mercy can be directed there. Mercy is more able to work on a person than on a mystery. The text I read does not promise instant transformation. It speaks instead of a steady companion who listens to what is true. The companion does not flinch at failures. The companion keeps watch through the small nights. That watching is a kind of forgiveness already. To be watched tenderly is often the start of forgiving oneself and another. There is a gentle exercise for forgiving those who cannot be seen. Many wounds come from faces now absent. For such names, imagine placing a small pebble on a riverbank. Give the pebble a brief name. Leave it there. Walk away slowly without picking it up. The act trains the hands to let go. It trains the feet to set down and step forward. When forgiveness rests on understanding, it remains realistic. It does not pretend harm did not happen. It remembers clearly and learns new ways to live anyway. The remembering is like keeping a scar. A scar can be admired for its resilience and not defined by the pain that made it. A scar tells a story of survival. The story is honest and full of room for compassion. Another small breath pattern might help here. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 8. The exhale stretches longer than the in-breath. Let that longer out-breath be like an offering. With each out-breath, imagine a tight knot loosening by one loop. The body begins to trust that tension is not permanent. God's understanding is not distant. It notices the small facts that others miss. That deep knowing is tender because it fills in the whole story. Being seen by such an understanding does not make the past vanish. It makes the present safer. Safety allows the hands to let go of burdens they have carried alone. When mercy meets story, a different life becomes possible. There will be nights when the mind wants to rehearse the wrongs. Over and over, that loop can be tired down with a small ritual. Take 3 slow breaths and name one thing learned from the hurt. It may be as simple as a boundary that needs setting, or a need for rest, or the name of an emotion finally faced. Learning is not always pleasant. It is often useful. Use that small learning as an anchor. It turns the hurt into wisdom. Forgiveness through understanding ends tonight's passage on a quiet promise that mercy learns the facts and then moves. Mercy is not blind compassion. It is informed presence. It stays with truth. And it also makes room for repair. The repair is slow. It is tender. It is possible. I mark the page with the ribbon. The lamp pools light on the leaves for a moment longer. The room keeps its hush. Lay the head back if that feels safe. Let the breath fold into the measured patterns. The small images, the gate, the knot, the leaf on the stream, linger like soft lights behind the eyelids. Before the book closes, offer one small practice to the night. Place a hand where the ribs lift. Breathe in and name one honest piece of the story. Breathe out and imagine setting it down on a shelf. Let the body feel that simple motion. Rest does not mean forgetting. It means trusting the work of understanding to continue in the slow hours. I close the cover gently and keep the ribbon in place. Tonight's benediction is quiet. May understanding attend the heart. May mercy find the small facts without haste. And may forgiveness come as a soft, patient companion in the long hours. When ready, sleep. The book will be here when morning comes. The reading will continue another night. For now, let the hush do its work. I turn the page with a slow thumb. The lamp makes a small warmth on the paper. The room holds its hush. The line at the top sketches a promise of change that feels like music. I read it as an image, not a lecture. The world itself rejoices. The hills lift their voices. Rivers clap their hands. Even stones know how to sing. I slow my voice more than usual. Each word falls like a small bell. The sound is light and clear. Listen with the ear you use to notice rain on a tin roof. Let the picture build quietly in the mind. Imagine a morning that arrives without hurry. The sky is the color of new linen. Trees that were once bowed stand upright. Their branches move as if waking from a long sleep. Leaves lift and turn. The motion is not frantic. It is the simple work of a thing remembering its purpose. In that remembering there is joy. I picture a meadow where long silence used to sit. Now the grasses sway in slow music. The motion is easy. Small flowers open like hands. They do not burst. They unfold kindly. The sound is soft. It is like a choir that has never sung loudly, but carries a steady tune. This is the kind of joy that grows without demand. There is a small, steady peace in the image. Mountains that seemed stern now tilt their faces towards the sun. Their slopes breathe out a color that is warmer than before. They do not change their shape in a dramatic way. They simply allow a sound of praise to pass over them. The praise is not loud. It is a kind of contentment that moves a slow, sure current beside it. I ask you to rest a hand over the heart. Now, feel the rise. Feel the fall. Let that motion match the world I have painted. The breath is gentle. Breathe in a quiet that almost fits the shape of a smile. Hold the small stillness. Exhale slowly, and let the picture sink deeper into the body. Joy here is not a command to be cheerful. It is a gradual rearranging. Think of a room you have kept in shadow for years. A soft light is moved across the floor. Dust motes turn into a small constellation. The furniture seems cleaner because someone has opened a window. The room does not become new overnight. It becomes available to new things. The text suggests that creation itself responds when mercy moves. The earth seems to remember how to dance. That motion is not meant to erase sorrow. It sits beside sorrow and changes the distance between pain and praise. Imagine grief at the corner of a field. In time, green begins to fringe its edges. The fringe does not deny the corner. It surrounds it with life. I set the breath to a steady pace. In for 3. Pause lightly. Out for 5. Let the exhale be the generous part. With each out-breath, picture one small thing in your life shifting its balance. A stubborn worry tilts toward acceptance. A small regret loosens its grip. The changes are tiny. They are true. I hold an image of a child stepping onto a porch after a hard day. The child breathes in the scent of bread. The shoulders drop. A laugh escapes without fanfare. The laugh is more like relief than pride. Joy begins as relief. It grows like moss on the north side of a stone, quiet and persistent. The passage I read hints that the rough edges of the heart find smoothness. That smoothing is practical. It is the result of small acts. A word of kindness, a hand that rests, a habit of prayer like screens on a porch that keep the heavy flies out. The work of joy is often domestic. It folds socks, it makes tea, it tunes the cadence of the day. If a memory for you is a hard knot, imagine a long ribbon finding that knot. The ribbon traces around the loops and loosens them without force. The knot does not vanish. It becomes smaller. The motion is patient. The hands move with calm. The change is faithful because it is steady. I offer a small practice for the night. Picture one place in the body that feels closed. Send the breath to that place like a small lantern. Inhale slowly and let the light touch the tight area. Hold it there for the length of a quiet count. Exhale and imagine that the tightness relaxes by a thread. Repeat until the body answers with a softer signal. There is music in the wording I read. I do not mean actual song. I mean rhythm, a cadence that steadies the steps. The rhythm is like walking in a soft rain. Each footfall leaves a mark that dries into a new pattern. The pattern repeats. Over time it becomes a path. That path is a habit of joy. It is a way of walking that the body learns by being led. Consider small acts of praise. They do not require a grand stage. They are quiet acknowledgments, a whispered thanks for the day's small mercies, a short prayer for strength that does not demand large faith. These acts gather like small coins into a savings that buys a restful night. The account is slow to grow, but it grows. I speak gently about hope here. Hope in this passage is a patient thing. It does not demand instant proof. It keeps a quiet watch. Imagine someone who waits at a window each evening for a certain light. The light does not explode into view. It arrives by degrees. The watcher does not know all the reasons for the light. The presence of waiting itself shapes the heart. There is also a sense of community in the picture. The trees do not dance alone. The rivers do not clap by themselves. The mountains join. The song of one thing joins the song of another. Use your imagination to place a neighbor in that image. Picture a small kindness shared across a fence. The joy of one heart makes space in another. The night cares that this is so. I slow my reading still further. Each phrase rests. The lamp dips and then grows steady. The room honors the pace. If your eyelids grow heavy, let them close. If the mind wants to stay near the images, keep them like small stones on a table in front of you. Touch one and remember its shape. Let the fingers trace its edge. Joyful transformation is not a one-time event. It is a way the world learns to breathe again. It does not promise that sorrow will leave forever. It promises that sorrow will have company. It promises that the company will be gentle, and that, in the presence of that company, the heavy things do not sit alone. Imagine a night where the moonlight makes a path on water. The path is slow and silver. The feet of memory walk that path and find that each step leaves a small blossom behind. The blossom is not a miracle. It is a sign that the walk is gentle and that the traveler is not alone. Allow that image to rest. I will mark this passage with the ribbon. The page keeps its place. The lamp tosses its circle of light across the leaves. I fold the picture of rejoicing into my hands like a small cloth. It is not a sweep of perfection. It is a keeping of a way to notice goodness in small increments. Before I close, breathe with me once more. In for 3. Hold. Out for 6. Let the exhale be a slow lowering of the shoulders. Feel the space between the ribs widen gently. Picture the hills and the rivers and the trees as companions in the breath. This breath is an act of joining. When you are ready to sleep, let the image follow you. Let it become a soft pillow for the thoughts that tend to wake at night. Joy need not be loud to be real. It can live in the pause between 2 breaths. It can bloom in the slow turning of a tired heart toward morning. I close the Bible softly and keep the ribbon in place. The hush in the room deepens by a small degree. I place my hand briefly on the cover, as if blessing the place between pages. The intention of the night remains rest. Gentle renewal, and a quiet hope that the world and the heart can find ways to sing. Go now into the dark with that image. Let the small song settle near the chest. Let it be an anchor when the night presses. I will open the book again when the time comes. For now, sleep and let the quiet work of joyful transformation go on in the slow hours. I settle the Bible in my lap and let the lamp hold its quiet circle. Tonight I open to a passage that feels like a long, steady hand on the shoulder. The words I read point back across years. They remind that plans are not only for one day. There is a thread that runs through the small and the slow. It ties the first step to the last. It is a careful weaving. I read with that thought near. The image that comes first is an old map. It is creased in places. The ink has softened. Someone has walked over these lines many times. The map still names the rivers and the woods. It still shows paths that wind around hills. The presence that keeps the map does not forget. It remembers each road a traveler took, and the reason they chose it. Thinking of the map helps the mind that worries about missing a turn. The map invites trust in the path, even when the way ahead is low and not fully lit. I speak the verse's quiet promise in plain words. The keeper of the road remembers. He remembers the child and the elder. He remembers the times of quick faith and the long seasons of doubt. The memory is not a ledger that counts faults. It is a memory that holds a life whole. Imagine someone who knows the details of your days, not to shame, not to weigh, but to stay near. Breathe with me now. In for 3. Hold 1 soft beat. Out for 5. Each out-breath releases a small worry. Let that release be an offering. The body answers the rhythm. The chest eases. The mind can follow. There is an image of a gardener who tends a long row of plants from one season to the next. Hands are in the soil often. The gardener remembers which seed was planted in which plot. He knows which corner needs more shade and which needs more water. He does not forget a single seed because the work is a long habit. God's plans hold that sort of tending. They are not sudden. They are careful and continuous. That steadiness comforts when the future looks like a blank field. I place another picture beside it. Consider an old house with a deep cellar. The cellar stores jars of preserves. Jars are labeled with dates and small notes written in a steady hand. In winter, the stored food is a quiet proof that the summer's work was not wasted. Memory is like that cellar. Plans that were set in motion long ago can be drawn upon now. The heart can find sustenance in what was once planted. Do not mistake remembering for controlling. Memory is not a machine that forces each piece to fall into place on command. It is more like a tapestry. Threads cross. Some knots hold tight, others loosen with time. The tapestry's pattern still has meaning. Even as colors soften, seeing the pattern helps the hands that are new to it. The knowledge of a greater design lowers the urgency of the fingers. When worry asks whether a life still fits into any plan, imagine a voice that calls your name across a field. The call is not hurried. It is not a demand for explanation. It is an assurance that the one who remembers knows you by name. That knowing makes the road less anonymous. Crowded nights feel thinner when a voice remembers the small things that matter to you. There is comfort in the fact that plans extend into old age. The passage I read speaks of carrying through all of life. It is not a promise that the road will be free of stones. It is a promise of company on the road. Picture an old pair of shoes that have seen many miles. They are scuffed and softened. Someone still ties their laces. The act of tying is not only for young feet, it is for every foot that walks. Age does not exclude being known or being guided. Rest the hands on the body now. One on the heart, one on the belly. Feel the warmth where the hands lie. That warmth is a small proof of presence. When the mind asks whether the future matters, let the hands speak quietly. I am here now. The immediate fact of being seen anchors the thought that plans continue into whatever comes next. I choose a slow breath again. Inhale 4 counts. Hold 2. Exhale 7. Let the exhale stretch longer. The longer release is a way of practicing trust. It is not blind trust. It is a small rehearsal. The body learns to let go a bit more with each cycle. The more the body lets go, the more the heart can attend to the steady promise. Imagine a lamp keeper who tends a line of beacons along a shoreline. Each night the keeper walks and checks the light. The beacons guide ships by small, persistent vigilance. A harbor's safety depends on the remembering of the lamp keeper. God's plans are like those beacons. They do not leave the shore dark. They may not show every sandbar, but they keep the way lit enough for a cautious step. There is also a soft invitation to remember what has already been faithful. Think of one small thing through your days that has been reliable. The sunrise, the cup of tea that warms the hands, the name of a friend who calls sometimes. Hold that small faithfulness in the mind. Let it stand as a witness that not everything is left to chance. Small proofs have authority in the night. Do not be troubled if details of the plan remain unclear. Clarity sometimes comes only as one walks. The map is helpful, but feet still take the next step. The practice of faith is not primarily to know. It is to trust the hands that keep the map. The feet learn the rhythm of the path by walking it. Allow the present step to hold your attention. If regelreis is like wind, name it gently and place it in a small basket in the mind. Do not let it become the whole room. Let it be only one basket among many. The one who remembers knows all the baskets. He does not let them overflow without help. The act of setting weary thoughts in a place calms the muscles that clutch at them. There is grace in the idea that God's plans outlast our schedules. Schedules are tight and loud. Plans are patient and broad. Imagine a long road that crosses seasons. The road is not hurried by clocks. It absorbs the weather. Plans have the same heart. They move through storms and still find a way. That steadiness makes the night less crowded with frantic thinking. I return to the image of a mother who keeps a quilt. Each patch has a story sewn into it. The quilt wraps a child at every stage. Even when the child grows, the quilt remains. It carries warmth from earlier nights into later ones. God's plans keep warmth across time like that quilt. They do not unmake the care that was given in an earlier hour. Breathe again slowly. In 3, hold 1, out 5. With the out-breath, imagine setting down one urgent question. Let it land like a small stone. It is still real. It is not flung away. Yet letting it rest frees the hands for rest. The motion matters. The hands that let go are the ones that later take what is needed. There is a gentle discipline in remembering God's plans. It is not a duty that feels heavy. It is a practice that calms. Each evening, I return to the book and the lamp. The routine itself is a way of training the heart to trust continuity. Habits are not magic. They are small scaffolds for a weary mind. The scaffolds make tomorrow feel reachable. Imagine a river that remembers its course, even in flood. The waters rise and pull at the banks. Yet after the flood, the river finds its bed again. The land bears signs of the storm. But the course is familiar. God's plans include restoration like that. The world can be reshaped by pain, and still a familiar way remains to walk. If fear whispers that nothing is certain, answer with a small truth. The one who made the stars does not forget the small lights in a life. That truth is not a loud argument. It is a patient reminder. Hold it close like a warm cup between the palms. Let it steady the hands. As I close this portion, place the mind on one small, tangible hope, a thing that can be seen tomorrow. It might be a call to make, a single task to finish, a small act of kindness to offer. Keep that hope modest. A small hope is easy to carry. Let it be evidence that plans have feet. I mark the page with the ribbon and let the book rest. The lamp thins its glow, but does not go out. My hand pauses on the cover for a quiet benediction. May memory be a shelter tonight. May the plan that keeps you be long enough to hold seasons. May the hands that remember guide your steps. One small, steady footstep at a time. When you are ready, close the eyes. Breathe slowly. Let the thought of a map, a guild, a lampkeeper settle near the heart. The night will do its work. The plans that were begun will go on. Rest now in the calm company of a care that remembers through every age and every hour. I open the page with a soft touch. The lamp makes its calm circle. The title reads in my mind, The Covenant of Peace. I pause there a moment. The phrase feels like a hand laid gently over a restless place. The words I bring are not cold law. They are a steady promise. Mountains may tremble, hills may shift, yet the promise stands like a deep root. It is not loud. It is very sure. I say that because the night sometimes turns small worries into roaring things. The promise quiets them without shouting. Place a hand over your chest now. Feel the rise and fall. Let the hand be an anchor. Breathe in slowly for 3 counts. Hold a soft beat. Breathe out for 6. With each out-breath, imagine a thread loosening from a tight knot. The knot may not disappear at once. It need not. The motion of release begins here. I picture a covenant as something made by hands. Imagine 2 hands tying a ribbon on a young sapling. The ribbon is not a leash. It is a pledge to stay near. It marks the place where care will come. The ribbon end flutters in the slow wind. That flutter is an assurance that someone remembers. The care remains even when seasons are harsh. Peace in this passage is not merely absence of noise. It is a presence that fills the small spaces. Picture a room that has been cleaned. There is still residue of dust in corners. The room is not perfect. It is quieter in a way that invites sitting. The peace feels like that. It does not erase scars. It creates a place where scars do not dominate the view. Think of a stone bridge over a wide river. The water below can grow wild. The bridge keeps its line. People cross it in storms and in calm. The covenant is like that bridge. The river's mood does not dictate whether the bridge stays. It remains as a steady path for the feet that need to cross. If thoughts press at the edges, let them come and pass like birds across the window. Notice them without grabbing. Return attention to the breath. In for 3. Hold 1. Out for 6. The breath steadies the listening. The lamp by the Bible is patient. It does not demand performance. It only keeps its glow. There is a tenderness in the idea of being held across time. The covenant stretches through chapters of life. It does not come for one season and leave in the next. Imagine a gardener who returns to the same plot year after year. She knows the soil's habits. She tends where frost hits hard. She plants with a view to the long haul. The promise I read tonight keeps the same long view. I reach for another image. Picture an old letter bound in twine. The ink has faded, but the words inside still carry warmth. Someone wrote and sealed a vow long ago. The seal is not brittle. It keeps. The letter continues to mean what it meant in the hand that wrote it. That is the kind of promise I want you to rest in, slow, faithful, resistant to time. When fear says that nothing is sure, answer with a small fact: you are remembered, not as a number in a ledger, remembered with names, with particularities, with the small details of days. The one who keeps this promise knows the weight of your breath and the sound of your small, private sighs. That knowledge bears weight. It steadies the night. There is a practical move to try now. Place both hands where you feel the pulse most clearly. One on the chest, one on the belly. Match breathing to the pulse. Inhale with the pulse. Hold once. Exhale until the pulse slows a touch. Repeat a few times. The body will learn that the heart's measure and the breath can share a steady rhythm. That rhythm is a small covenant you can keep with yourself. The covenant of peace carries mercy in its seam. Mercy does not erase history. It meets it and makes a refuge. Imagine a small house on a cliff. Wind tears at the shutters sometimes. The roof bears marks from old storms. Still. Inside, a table holds fresh bread, and a lamp burns by the window. That inside is the place mercy offers. It does not pretend the storm never happened. It simply keeps a hearth against it. Sometimes peace arrives as a decision. I picture a person at a bedside, choosing to stay quiet when anger asks for a reply. Quiet is not weakness. It is the choosing of a different path. The covenant supports these small decisions. It does not require boldness. It honors the tiny, patient acts that stitch a life back together. If the night brings sadness that feels wide as the sea, imagine stepping into a boat with a reliable hand at the oar. You do not have to row alone. The one who promised peace rows with you, or lends strength when your arms fail. The motion of the water does not disappear, but the company changes the journey. In company, the heavy water feels crossable. I speak slowly now, letting the syllables be few. Each phrase is a small bell. Hear them close to the ear. Peace is often a low sound. It is not the thunder of victory. It is the soft echo of a story that keeps on being told. Allow the echo to fill the room for a few breaths. There is no need to fix every knot tonight. Not everything must be solved by midnight. The covenant's pace is patient. Think of a tide that returns faithfully. Some nights, the tide moves slowly. Others, it comes with a sigh. Either way, the return brings new shape to the shore. The shore is altered. The covenant is the force that keeps returning to remake the edges gentler. If shame or guilt sits heavy, do a small thing. Take a slow breath and imagine laying the burden on a flat stone. Name it silently. Then picture a steady hand smoothing the top of the stone. The name remains. But the weight shifts. This is not magic. It is a practice. Repeating it loosens the shoulders enough to rest. Peace also gives permission to be small sometimes. The covenant does not demand constant productivity. It allows for quiet hours. Imagine a night where the lamp is enough and the tasks are few. The very act of permission is a balm. Let this permission rest as an honest line on the day's ledger tonight. Rest. There is a community in this promise. It touches more than a single life. Think of trees in a grove whose roots tangle beneath the earth. Each tree catches rain. The roots share the water. A covenant's peace is like that underground sharing. The life you live is not isolated. It is part of a network of care that reaches beyond the immediate. Breathe again with me. In for 3. Hold 1. Out for 7. Let the exhale be generous. With each out-breath, imagine a thin strand of worry, unwinding like thread from a spool. The spool does not empty all at once. It gives up one small length. Now, that length is enough. I mark this thought with a small image to carry to sleep. Picture a simple olive branch laid on a pillow. The branch is not ornate. It is modest and green. It smells faintly of earth. It is a token placed to remember that peace has been promised and kept before. Let that quiet token be the last thing your mind touches before sleep. As I close the book for this part, my hand stays for a moment on the cover. The ribbon lies between pages like a soft seam. I do not hurry from this room. The lamp remains. The hush deepens. The covenant I read about is not an abstract thing. It is a steady hand at the shoulder, a seam that mends slowly, a map kept with attention, a lamp that a keeper checks each night. Rest if you need to. Sleep if it comes. If wakefulness remains, keep the image of the ribbon and the olive branch near. Let them be small proofs. Tomorrow holds other steps and new mercies. Tonight, the covenant of peace is a simple promise stitched into the fabric of the hours. I fold the page closed gently. The book waits where it lies. The lamp keeps its soft circle. My voice grows softer still. May this promise rest in the chest like a slow, steady drum. May peace find its place in the small rooms of the night. When you are ready, let the breath lengthen and the shoulders fall. I will open the book again when the hour comes. For now, be quiet, be held, be at peace. I turn the page slowly. The paper breathes under my fingers. The lamp makes a small pool of light. Shadows gather at the edges of the room. I read the line from Isaiah like a small command to wake arise. Shine. The words feel like a tiny flame stirred to life. Darkness sits in places a lamp cannot reach. It hides in long afternoons. It hides in nights that stretch. It hides inside names that are hard to say out loud. I do not pretend the dark is not real. I only name another thing. Light finds its way even into the parts that feel stubbornly closed. Keep the breath slow with me. In for 3. Hold 1 light beat. Out for 5. The exhale makes room. With each out-breath, Imagine a small glow moving from the chest outward. It does not rush. It walks softly across the skin. Picture a single candle first. It stands steady on a table. At first it looks too small to matter. The room is large. The corners are deep. Yet the candle makes a line. It draws a path along the table. Dust in the beam becomes little motes of gold. The candle does not banish night all at once. It changes the way the eye reads the room. That change is enough. Now imagine that the candle is placed in an open window. The glass is cool. The night air touches the flame and does not put it out. The light breathes and leans out. It touches the sill, then the porch, then the street. Each place the light meets loosens the hold of dark by a little. The widening happens slowly and steadily. There is a tenderness to light in Scripture. It is not a harsh glare. It is a kind of steady keeping. Think of a lantern carried on a soft path. The carrier walks with care. The lamp warms the hands as well as the way. Whoever holds it does not hurry. Their steps are predictable. That steadiness is what the phrase means when it asks the light to rise. If heavy thoughts come tonight, do not wrestle them. Lay them where hands can see them. Picture those thoughts as folded cloth. Unfold each piece slowly. Set one piece at a time under the candlelight. The things look different when the flame touches them. Edges soften. Couleur au terme. The motion of seeing is also a motion of letting go. There is also a deep image of dawn here. Imagine the horizon as a thin seam of pale blue. The sky does not explode into color. It yawns. It draws its first breath. The dark on the hills recedes like a tide. Morning comes by degrees. That gradual coming teaches patience. It reminds the heart that shifts can be quiet and real. I read with a quiet cadence. Each sentence is a small bell. Pause between phrases and feel how the silence takes shape. The silence is not empty. It is a place where light can rest and gather strength. Let the stillness be a soft mattress under the words. Light in the night is often a sign of care. The smallest light suggests that someone keeps watch. That knowledge alone changes a room. It turns a lonelier night into a place where company exists. Imagine a lamp by a bedside. Its glow says, I am near. That nearness is the kind of mercy spoken of in these lines. Try a simple practice. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Imagine a dot of light just below the ribs. It is warm and steady. With each in-breath, the dot brightens a touch. With each out-breath, it spreads a little farther. Do this for 5 cycles. Notice how the imagined light alters the sensation of the chest. It does not dispel all heaviness. It makes room for something lighter to be remembered. The light I read about comes not primarily as an external fix. It begins within small places, a softened memory, effugiun ease, a decision to set a burden on a table. These interior motions feel like candlelight. They do not roar. They make tasks possible that once seemed impossible in the dark. Remember, a place where light changed a night for you. Perhaps it was the first time a kind word was given when it was wanted least. Maybe it was a steady hand on a shoulder. Hold that memory like a match to the imagined flame. Let the memory catch and warm the present. The past approach becomes a pattern the mind can borrow. There will be times when the dark is thick, despite good light. In those hours the light may be dim, and the heart tire. That dimness is not a verdict. It is a season. Light still exists. It may need to be tended. A lamp sometimes requires trimming. A wick needs steady attention. The small, practical acts of tending matter. A warm cup, a steady chair, a brief reading of good words. Each is a tending of the light. I put a practical image beside the poem of dawn. Picture a house with many rooms. One room is used less. Cobwebs gather. A lamp is carried into that room. The light does not demand the entire house be rearranged. It only asks that this single room be made ready for presence again. The change may be small, but it is enough to invite footsteps back. There is comfort in the idea that light notices small things. It finds cracks in pots. It shows new green in tired plants. The noticing itself is a kind of mercy. Imagine being the thing that is noticed. The heart relaxes at the attention. Attention that is kind heals by making things seen rather than judged. If worry claws at the edge of sleep, anchor with breath. In for 3. Hold 1. Out for 6. On the out-breath, imagine light creeping along the spine like a soft ribbon. It does not flood the mind. It merely makes a line to follow. Follow the line. Let the eyes soften behind the lids. Darkness sometimes creates strange companions. Old fears take the shape of shadow and stand nearer than they should. Invite them into the light by naming them inside. A name is not a debate. It is an act of bringing to daylight. Say the thought in the mind no more than a single phrase. Then let it rest. Naming reduces the shape of the fear. The image of a lighthouse comes up as well. A tall lamp on a distant shore. Its beam sweeps the sea in a measured way. Ships do not always see the whole tower. They only need the arc of light that keeps their course. The lighthouse is a servant of safe passage. So is the light that Scripture promises. It does not promise to blot out every hazard. It promises to guide enough to keep passage possible. Now imagine that the light you carry is not only for personal use. It spills. A neighbor sees the glow through a window. A friend walking by notices a warmer street corner. Faith is often that spill. One small lamp can become a line of lamps when care is shared. The act of staying with light helps more than the single room. Gentle practices help keep this lamp. A small prayer whispered in the dark. Reading a single good sentence. Placing a hand over the heart and feeling its beat. These acts do not cure all doubt. They steady the hands that must go on in the morning. They are the daily work of light. I read these words from the Bible as a bedside song. They come as a steady voice that says, "Rise, shine, do not hide." The tone is an invitation, not a demand. It leans close and waits. That waiting is part of the gift. It allows the weary enough time to find a match. If tears come in the hush, let them be part of the way light works. Tears are not failures. They are a cleansing that sometimes precedes clearer sight. The salt lifts some things from the eye and makes the surface bright again. Crying does not make the lamp go out. It sometimes polishes the glass. The small promise in Isaiah calls for action that is humble. Stand up, move a little, open a curtain, light a candle. The steps are small and ordinary. Their ordinariness is exactly why they work. Grand gestures need grand moments. Small lights keep ordinary nights possible. I pause and let silence grow for a few beats. The hush is like a bowl. The light sits inside it. Breathing slows. The room inhales the calm. The Bible rests in my lap. The words still glow on the page. Before I close this part, choose one simple thing. It might be lighting a real candle. It might be saying a quiet thanks for one bright memory. It might be placing a hand where the breath is felt most. Whatever it is, do it now, with slow motion and no hurry. Let that act be the match that keeps a small flame lit. I lay a quiet benediction onto the moment. May the small light find the dark places and stay. May the glow be enough to make the next step safe. May the presence that keeps watch be nearer than the night suggests. I mark the page with the ribbon. The lamp does not go out. The room holds its hush. When sleep arrives, let it find the place the light has made. If wakefulness remains, let the imagined flame be steady in the chest. I will open the book again when the next part begins. For now, rest in the glow and let the dark become a softer room. I turn the page with a soft thumb. The lamp leans close to the paper. The room breathes slow. On the top line sits a phrase that has weight healing through faith. The passage I hold points to a wound that carries meaning. It shows healing that is not only for the body, but for the whole of us. I read slowly. The words do not race. They rest on the ear like a small stone placed on a table. The idea is plain. Suffering has met attention. That attention tends. It does not pretend the hurt is small. It meets it squarely and brings balm. Think of a bruise that sits dark for days. A warm hand presses gently. The color lightens. It does not vanish at once. The touch begins a change. Healing is like that touch. Faith is not a magic spell. It is a steady presence that leans in and keeps tending. Place a hand on the chest now, or wherever comfort is wanted. Feel the warmth. Let the palm be a small lamp. Breathe in 4 counts. Hold 1. Breathe out 6. Each out-breath lets a little tightness go. The breath becomes part of the healing work. It is a slow rhythm that the body knows how to follow. The passage I read long ago tells of wounds turned into medicine. It speaks of suffering that is not wasted. Imagine a field after a harsh winter. The ground seems broken. In spring, small green pushes through. It is not a grand change. It is patient. Healing works like that. Small returns happen where soil and sun meet. Health can be physical in plain ways. A fever cools. A muscle loosens. The body makes small repairs every hour. Faith does not make the repairs, but gives a trust that the mending will be noticed and that someone good is attending to it. That noticing is a kind of help. It changes the way the body experiences its own work. Healing is also mending of the hidden places. There are hurts without bruises. Memories ache. Regret sits like a pebble in the shoe. Faith enters those places gently. It does not force the memory away. It holds it and lets it be seen until the edges soften. Picture a seam that has come loose. A careful hand stitches it back. The thread does not erase the tear, but it brings the pieces together in a new way. Sometimes healing looks like a slow stitch. Imagine hands that sew patient seams. A thread passes through cloth again and again. The stitch is not hurried. Each pass strengthens the fabric. Over time, the cloth is whole again and usable. The scar of the seam does not lie hidden. It becomes a part of the cloth story. That story carries dignity rather than shame. If pain is sharp right now, do not pretend it is not. Name it briefly in the mind. Say the simplest truth about it. Then breathe and imagine a small line of light moving along that place. The line warms. It does not erase sensation. It changes its shape enough that the muscles can loosen. The imagination is not a trick. It is a way for the nervous system to accept a kinder input. Faith sometimes shows itself as a hand laid on a shoulder. Not a dramatic miracle, but a human steadiness. The hand says you are not alone in this. The presence creates space for the body to do what it must do. Recovery often needs company. It needs someone to keep the watch while the body repairs itself through sleep, through rest, through slow days. I offer a small practice that suits the body. If able, take a warm cloth, place it where there is tension. Let the heat do its soft work. Warmth loosens tight muscle. It comforts a chest that breathes thin. A small, practical comfort is part of faith's work. It attends to the body in ordinary ways. Remember that healing is seldom immediate. The scripture I read is steady about that. It speaks of a process that moves through suffering into relief. Picture a river that smooths a stone. It does not polish it in an instant. Many seasons of water make the stone round and soft. The same is true for a heart that has been bruised. There is mercy in the body's small repairs. Akut niets. A bruise fades. A broken thing is not thrown away. It is mended. Faith offers the confidence that mending is real, even if slow. Imagine a pot that has been repaired with thin gold in a careful art. The repair becomes beautiful and keeps the vessel useful. Healing can make the broken part a place of new life. Grief and fear can feel like deep wounds. They reach in and touch the marrow. The night can seem very long in such times. Faith does not diminish the weight. It lifts a corner of the load so the hands can breathe. The lift is small at first. It grows as trust expands. You hardly notice the change until one morning the chest feels less cramped than the day before. I keep my voice low. Short sentences. Each phrase becomes a small step. For the ear, this tone gives room for sleep, if sleep comes. The reading is meant to be a steady pace that the body can match. The breath aligns. The heart learns a softer cadence. If rest is hard, try a focused breathing for the place that aches. Put one hand on the place. Breathe into the hand for 3 counts. Hold 1. Breathe out for 6. Picture the out-breath carrying away a little of the pain. Like a leaf on a slow stream, do this for 5 cycles. The body will answer with subtle shifts. Muscles that have gripped will begin to loosen. Healing faith also shows in community. A neighbor brings soup. A quiet prayer is said at the bedside. A familiar voice stays on the phone for a long minute. These acts are not showy. They are practical. They are part of how bodies and hearts mend. The presence of others matters. The small kindnesses make the long nights shorter. There is also a simple permission to accept help. Pride can make hands refuse a offered cup or a guided step. Acceptance is not weakness. It is wisdom. Imagine two hands carrying a load together. The load is lighter. The journey continues. The choice to be helped is itself a small act of healing. Suffering sometimes points to deeper meaning. The scripture suggests that wounds can matter, that they can be woven into a larger story of care. This is not an argument that pain is good in itself. It is a reminder that suffering does not have to be meaningless. In the soft light of that thought, it becomes a place where kindness can enter. If sleep arrives now, let it come. Sleep is a healer. The body repairs in the dark. Dreams sometimes stitch up the torn places with surprising threads. The mind does not need to hold the whole repair project awake. Let the hands rest. Let the eyelids fall. The book will wait. If wakefulness stays, rest the mind on a single small image, a hand pressing a warm cloth, a seam sewn with steady stitches, a stone smoothed by water. Hold that image like a pebble. Turn it in the mind. Notice its edges and its small weight. The image is an anchor that the heart can rely on through the hours. I will mark this place with the ribbon. The lamp keeps its circle of light. The page lies ready for the next night. When the voice returns, more gentle lines will follow. For now, let the thought of quiet tending sit near the chest. Let healing be patient. Let faith be the steady hand that watches over the slow work. A short blessing before the page closes. May warmth find the places that ache. May hands come that steady and whole. May rest give room for repair. May the small, sure presence of mercy gather the loose edges into a gentle shape. Sleep, if you can. If not, breathe slowly and hold the image of mending in the mind until morning. I turn the page and let the lamp settle its light. The room breathes slow. My voice is low. I read the phrase again in my heart, an invitation to rest. The text leans that way. It calls quietly to come and be still. I sit with the Bible open. The ribbon lies like a small seam. I place my hand near it. The book feels familiar under my palm. I do not speak of doctrine tonight. I only offer a bedside voice. I read to keep watch with you. Rest is not absence of work. It is a welcome into a shelter. Imagine a simple room made for that welcome. The walls are thick. A small window frames a single star. A bed waits with soft linen. Light spills like honey across the sheets. The place is not ornate. It is honest and safe. I ask you to find a posture that lets the body agree. If you lie down, let the knees bend, if that helps. If you sit, lean back until the spine meets support. Place a hand lightly over the heart. Feel the breath there. That hand is a small proof of presence. Keep it there and let the palm warm the chest. The text I read says rest is not a prize for perfection. It is an offered room. It is prepared. Imagine someone who has anticipated your arrival. They have polished the floor. They have set out a small cup of warm tea. They did not wait for a report. They simply expected you. And they prepared the room anyway. Breathe with me. Inhale for 3 counts. Hold a single still beat. Exhale slowly for 6 counts. Let each out-breath be the more generous part. The long exhale loosens the jaw. It lets the shoulders fall. Repeat this breathing a few times. Let the steady pattern ease the nervousness that sometimes wakes in the night. There is a phrase that asks for trust. Trust here is small and practical. It is like lying down on a raft that will not sink. The raft is not a promise of a perfect outcome. It is a pledge that you will not be abandoned in the drift. In the hush of the room, imagine that raft floating on slow water. Each breath is a gentle wave. Accepting the invitation to rest often begins with a tiny "Onis move." Name one thing that presses on you tonight. Say it softly in the mind. No need for a long speech. A single short sentence will do. Speak it like placing a pebble on a table. Then, in the imagination, watch a careful hand take that pebble and set it inside a small bowl. The pebble stays, but the shoulders can ease. The sanctuary the verse points to is not only for rescue, it is for mending. Picture a quiet workshop where tired things are tended. A wooden bench holds a worn shoe. A pot emits a faint steam of herb. Tools hang in neat rows in the dim. A lamp throws a small circle. The work there is gentle and steady. Hands do not hurry. They work with care and patience. If your mind keeps replaying scenes, do a small practice. Imagine a ledger with the day's details. Close it like a book. Slide it into a shelf. Leave it there until morning. The act of setting things aside is not forgetting. It is making space. Space is necessary for sleep. There is a kindness in resting that rests on the body's rhythm. Try this now. Breathe in 4 counts. Hold 1. Breathe out for 7. Let the out-breath be a slow letting go. The body listens to the longer release. Muscles that have been braced begin, almost without notice, to relax. Accepting rest also asks for gentleness toward failures. If regret wakes you like a persistent itch, speak softly to it. Call it by a small name: tiredness, mistake, sorrow. Then imagine a cloth warming in hot water. Wring it gently. Lay it over the place that ache is. The warmth does not erase the past. It soothes the nerves that flare when the memory comes. There is a sanctuary image that returns to me, and I offer it now. Think of a small garden room enclosed by tall hedges. A bench sits in shade. Someone has left an open book on the bench. Bees murmur at flowers just at the edge. The air smells of green. The garden does not pretend. The world beyond does not exist. It only offers a place where wounds can be tended away from the wind. I keep my sentences short, so the ear can follow without effort. The lamp listens too. Its glow is patient. The Bible's pages whisper under my fingers. I do not rush the reading. The pauses are important. Silence is part of the message. It gives room for what is read to settle. If you are tempted to measure your rest by productivity, remember this sleep is not laziness. It is repair. Muscles rebuild. Neurons sort the day. The heart learns new patterns. Rest is the body's honest work. It is part of how life continues. Sometimes the night reveals deep tiredness that is not simply physical. That tiredness needs a longer kind of care. Imagine a warm pool. Step in slowly. The water supports without forcing. The tension comes off in layers. Faith in this shelter looks like that warm water. It is not a quick fix. It is a place that receives you as you are. I invite you now to put down any small defenses. If the hands clench, open the fingers one by one and let them rest. If the jaw holds tight, drop the tongue from the roof of the mouth and allow the jaw to soften. These tiny movements send messages to the nervous system that it is safe to unwind. There is a deep hush in the verse I read. It suggests rest that passes time. It is an eternal rest that begins in small moments. The sanctuary is both now and beyond now. It is a promise that the tiredness and the small deaths of daily strain do not have the last word. I do not ask for perfect faith. I only offer the lamp and the page. Let the text be a pillow for your thoughts. Let the images I name be like covers, placed deliberately over the cold parts of the heart. Mercy works that way, by covering what chills and by tucking warmth at the edges. Rest sometimes needs witness. If it feels safe, keep the hand on the chest as I read. Feel that steady rise and fall. Let it be a steady drum. Let the beat be a small proof that you are alive and seen. I keep my voice low so the pace of the heart can find me. If sleep comes, welcome it. Sleep is a small surrender to care. It is not failure. It is acceptance. The mind can let go of the need to manage every detail. The body can do its restorative tasks in the dark. Know that the quiet voice of mercy continues when eyes close. If wakefulness remains, stay with the breathing. Return to the pattern. In for 3. Hold 1. Out for 6. Each cycle grounds the attention. Each cycle loosens a knot. Repeat until the shoulders lower and the jaw softens. There is a tenderness in being invited rather than driven. A summons that is gentle carries a different weight. It becomes easier to obey. Imagine a hand extended across a small gap. The hand does not grab. It simply waits until you place your palm in it. The contact is steady. The crossing becomes possible. I mark the page with a ribbon when I finish this section. The marker keeps the place, like a small bookmark in the night. My fingers linger on the cover. I do not hurry away from this room. The lamp continues to shine. The book rests. Before I close, a short benediction in motion. If there is a place that has been bruised, may it find a soft rest tonight. If the mind is sharp with worry, may it steady. If the heart feels hollow, may a quiet warmth fill it like slow tea. These are not promises of instant change. They are assurances that care is offered, and that it is enough to begin with. Now, when you are ready, Let the eyelids fall if it feels safe. If not, keep them soft and lowered. Breathe as we practiced. The room is a small sanctuary. The night is an invitation to trust a slower work. I will open the book again and read with you another time. For now, rest. Be still. Receive the shelter that is offered. I turn the page with a careful thumb. The lamp throws a narrow pool of light. The paper feels slightly cool. Tonight the margin carries a simple line from Isaiah that sits like a small command. Strength is found in quietness and trust. I hold that thought like a lamp. I do not explain it. I let it sit. Silence is not empty. It is a strong thing. It gathers around the ribs and steadies them. Picture a wide field at dusk. The breeze is slow. Grass bows in easy bows. No drumbeat presses at the edge. The hush itself holds weight. It is the kind of weight that supports rather than burdens. Trust is a small practice. It is not a leap into fog. It is placing one hand lightly on a plank and feeling the give. The plank may flex. The hand learns that the wood holds. A breath later, the foot follows. Trust begins as an experiment in small reliance. It grows when the hand keeps finding support. I set the voice lower now. Short sentences. Gentle rhythm. Each phrase is a small step. Listen as I read. Not to be convinced, but to be steadied. The words from the page do not shout. They invite a posture. They suggest a way of being still that is also a kind of courage. Try a tiny practice with me. Place a hand where the breath is felt most clearly. The palm rests on the sternum or the belly. Close the eyes if that is safe. Breathe in for 3 slow counts. Pause 1. Breathe out for 6. Let the exhale be the generous motion. With each out-breath, imagine the body loosening its grip on whatever it has been holding so tightly. The breath becomes a small proof that stillness can act. Silence in the heart is not the absence of thought. It is the company of one steady fact presence that does not demand performance. Picture an old friend sitting in the same room with no need to speak. The mere presence says enough. That kind of sitting is what trust feels like. It rests without doing more than keeping vigil. Sometimes the night presses with questions. The mind marches out every failure and arranges them on a table. Let the hands be free to set one plate down. Pick a single worry and name it in the mind as plainly as possible. Then let the hand on the chest hold the rest. Naming does not fix everything. It only moves a weight into the light. Silence follows naturally when the list is no longer shouted from every corner. Trust also looks like small obedience. It might be the choice to stop searching for answers late at night. It might be the decision to place the problem on a shelf and let sleep do what thinking cannot. Such choices are acts of faith. They are modest. They are real. They are practical ways to practice quietness. I keep the sound slow enough for sleep to come, if it wishes. The pages breathe under my fingers. Outside, a distant Carpasse, the sound slips into the hush and becomes part of the room. It no longer feels like intrusion. Even the small noises become the texture of keeping watch. There is a gentle firmness in the idea of quiet trust. It asks that the body stop leaping to solutions. It asks that the heart accept help while it is small. Acceptance is not surrender to weakness. It is recognition that hands other than our own can carry part of the weight for a night. Imagine a wooden boat at rest on a calm lake. The oars lie sideways. The boat does not fear the deep because it knows the water holds it. Trust is that believing the water will keep the boat afloat, not because the boat made the water, but because the boat rests where care has been given. The image is simple. The truth in it is gentle. If shame presses tonight, meet it with a small, careful breath. Bring the breath to the place where the shame sits like a pebble. Breathe into that pebble as if warming it in the palm. The stone does not disappear. It becomes lighter. The act of breathing toward it changes the tone of the night. I turn the page again. The lamp makes a soft rim on the paper. I carry the hush with me into the next image. The book moves from quiet trust to water. Not water as a mere picture, but water as refreshment. A well in the desert, a cup offered without price. Water for a thirsty soul is not merely metaphor. It is a lived relief. Picture steps made heavy by sand. Lips dry and cracked. Then a hand appears with a simple cup. The water is cool. It glides into the mouth. The throat remembers ease it had forgotten. This is the sort of mercy the pages point to. I speak of Christ as that hand, not as a lecture, but as a tender reality that some nights can hold. Christ offers living water in a manner that is immediate and humble. The gift does not come with a bill. It comes as a cup placed in the hand of one who has been walking too far. Imagine a shallow stream under moonlight. The water moves quietly. The surface mirrors the sky. Kneel at the edge in the mind. Cup the water with both hands. Take a sip. The coolness moves through the chest. It does not erase every thirst. It only relieves what is urgent. Relief spreads like a small tide from the center outward. There is also water that comes as presence. Not the rush of a waterfall, but the steady drip from a roof that gathers into a basin. Night after night, the basin fills enough to be useful. The steady drip is like small acts of kindness. A message left at noon. A neighbor's light on at night. A prayer tucked into the quiet. These small waters collect into a source that meets thirst over time. Try a simple imagining now. Close the eyes if safe. Picture a cup at the bedside. It is modest. Reach for it. Bring it to the lips. Take a slow, small sip. Let the cooling move from the throat into the chest. With each sip, imagine one small worry softening its edges. The practice is not magical. It is an image that retrains the body to accept refreshment slowly. Sometimes the thirst is for forgiveness. The mouth tastes bitter from the residue of wrong. Water is a symbol here. 2. Think of a hand pouring clean water over a soiled cloth. The stains do not vanish instantly. They fade with patient rinsing. Forgiveness works in similar rhythms. It flows. It washes. It restores, little by little. If loneliness is the dry place tonight, imagine a spring that bubbles up in the mind. The spring is not large at first. It is enough for a single cup. Draw from it. Let the presence behind the spring be both patient and near. The knowledge of a steady source under the ground steadies the steps. The feet can stop pacing. Breathing remains a small tool. Use it with the image of water. Breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Hold 1 quiet beat. Breathe out, as if releasing the sip along the spine for 6 counts. Let the exhale lengthen, like water flowing down, a gentle channel. Repeat. The rhythm calms the body and helps the image become real. There are nights when the cup offered must be refused for a while. Grief can taste like salt that makes any water sting. In such hours, receive the image anyway. Hold it gently. Let the picture of a cool stream stand as hope. Healing sometimes begins in the willingness to picture refreshment, even when the first sip hurts. Remember that water can also be a shared thing. One hand holds the cup for another. A cup passed between 2 people becomes an act of solidarity. If the hands are weak tonight, allow another hand to steady the cup. Let the shared sip be the beginning of a slow mending. I speak these things in a low tone. Short sentences. The night takes them in like slow rain. If sleep comes now, let it come. Dreams may carry images of clear water into deeper hours, and the body will use them to rebuild. If wakefulness stays, carry the cup image with the breath. Keep the hand on the chest. Feel the pulse like a small river moving within. Before closing the book, I lay a small benediction into the quiet of the room. May silence gather its strength around whatever ache is. May trust become a small habit of the hand and the foot. May water reach the thirsty places in gentle, steady measure. May Christ's mercy, plain and near, feel like a cool cup at the lip in the long hours. I mark the page with a ribbon and let the cover close. Soft, the lamp keeps its glow a while longer. The hush remains. Rest if that comes. Drink, even in the imagination. If that helps, I will be here again to read. For now, sleep into quiet. Let trust hold the load. Let water soothe the throat. The night does its gentle work. I set the Bible on my knee and let the page breathe under my thumb. The lamp makes a soft pool of light. I read the line again in my mind. Imagine your soul as a well-watered garden. I hold the image gently between my palms. It is simple. It is patient. Picture the earth at the root of a plant. The soil is dark and warm. It holds moisture. It keeps the seed company. Water has gone in, and it stays. That steadiness is what the line means. The soul is not a surface that dries by the first wind. It is a root system that finds what it needs below. I speak in a low tone, short sentences. The language is slow, so ears can follow. Imagine first the seeds. They sit under the soil like small promises. Some are shallow. Some lie deep. Some have cracks in their shells. Rain comes and the shells soften. Life moves inward. The seed does not hurry. It follows a timetable older than the day. Think of a gardener who knows the names of each plant. The gardener comes with soft tools. A hand clears leaves without tearing. A small knife trims what is dead. The work is careful. It respects the fragile green. The gardener does not push the plant to be more than it is. They find the right room to grow. The water here is not a single flood. It is a regular tending. A quiet stream runs beneath the beds. A drip keeps a steady rhythm. Each drop is small. Many drops together become a habit of moisture. The soul that is watered often will show small changes that build into new shape over time. Close your eyes if that feels safe. Picture the beds in the garden. Some are long, some are small. Rows of green stand in neat order. A thin path runs between them. The path is for walking slowly. Walk it in your imagination. Feel the ground underfoot. Notice the scent of earth, warmed by the lamp's idea of sun. Roots go where the eye cannot see. They travel around stones and under fences. They seek cool pockets of soil. When the roots grow deep, the top of the plant can survive heat and drought. The same is true for the heart. The deeper the roots, the more the surface can hold its color in storms. Root depth comes from patient days and quiet water. There is a pruning in every healthy garden. A careful cut removes what would choke growth. Pruning is not cruelty. It is kindness, dressed in scissors. Imagine a small branch that takes from the plant without giving back. The gardener snips it away, and the plant learns to use its strength differently. Sometimes, healing needs removal of old habits. It is not loss. It is a clearing for new growth. Birds come to a garden. They lift small seeds and wear the soil into designs. Their song is not performance. It is ordinary music. When birds visit, the air feels bright. They are part of the scene. Let the sound of their wings be an image you carry into the hush. It is a reminder that life continues in small, neighborly ways. The garden has shade as well as sun. A tree stands broad and patient. Under the tree, a bench waits. The bench is a place to rest the back and to let hands fall heavy. Rest is part of flourishing. Not every day is for growth. Some days are simply for staying alive in calm. The tree keeps its shade without making the bench move. It offers rest because that is what a tree does. Pests appear sometimes. Aphids gather on leaves. A slug finds the tender shoot. The gardener covers the plants with a small net. The net is a gentle protection. It does not remove life from the garden. It keeps the delicate places safe until they are stronger. Protection looks like boundaries. Boundaries are not walls of blame. They are fences that allow fragile shoots to become strong. Compost sits in a corner. It is a quiet heap of turning things. Scraps from the kitchen. Old leaves. The paper folded from a small note. These things decay and become food. Think of the compost as grace. Old hurts and failed attempts do not vanish. They change. They become the dark, rich earth that makes new green possible. That change is slow and honest. I offer a short breath practice to match the soil. Breathe in for 3 slow counts. Imagine water pouring into the roots. Hold a soft beat. Breathe out for 6 counts. Imagine the excess drain away in a tiny stream. Repeat until the chest feels like the soil moist and steady, not parched and alarmed. A garden needs seasons. There is a time for leaf and a time for fall. There is a time for lying still under frost and a time for sudden green. Do not shame a season. If you are in dormancy, see it as part of the cycle. The garden is not done when it looks brown. Beneath the surface, the work of life continues. The ground is gathering itself for spring. Fruits grow in their own time. A tree does not force the apple. It puts energy into trunk and root and leaf. Later, the blossom arrives almost by surprise. Fruit rests on patient work. The same is true of hope. Do not measure progress only by harvest. Some nights the work is only to keep the soil moist. That alone keeps the promise alive. Water also means guidance. A hose laid along the bed suggests a plan. Water can be directed to where it does best. The gardener does not water every patch the same. They know which bed needs more and which needs little. Let that be an image for care in the heart. Wisdom and tenderness direct the living water where it will root most deeply. If worry crowds into the chest like a weed, name it briefly. Say the word in the mind and place it on the path like a pebble. Do not attempt to uproot it by force in the dark. Wait for the gardener's hand. There is a careful time for pulling. Tonight? Notice, tomorrow. The gardener has tools. Care in the garden is often small and steady. A standing water pot refills overnight. A squirrel disturbs a seed, and the gardener repositions it with gentle fingers. Small acts of tending matter more than heroic gestures. Mercy in the life of the soul is almost always humble. It moves in daily repetition. Imagine a small gate. It opens to the garden and shuts to keep out the night's harsher things. The latch clicks with a sound like a small assurance. The gate does not keep out every storm. It simply makes the place manageable. Boundaries in the soul are like that gate. They make the bed safe to tend. I read these images like a lullaby. The sentences are short. The tone is soft. Each picture is a small tool. Use one at a time. If your mind is restless, choose the idea of roots and let your attention follow them. If the body aches, imagine warm compost knitting the tissue back into usefulness. If fear crowds in, think of the net that keeps tender shoots safe. There is a gardener who walks the rows at dawn. They notice which plant droops and which lifts its face. The gardener's voice is not needed. Their care is enough. Imagine that gardener leaning close to the soil where your name might be written on a small marker. They tend what they find. The care is particular and patient. If sleep comes while these images are still near, let it carry the garden with you. Dreams will use the pictures to work with the heart. If wakefulness remains, keep a hand where the breath is felt. Breathe to the roots. Let the inhalation be the rain. Let the exhale be the sun that warms what the rain has reached. I close this part with a small, steady benediction. May your inner garden be watered. May roots find cool places to rest. May the gardener's hands be gentle and sure. May fruit come in its season. May rest be part of the tending, not a reward to be earned. The lamp stays lit for a moment. The Bible rests open. The ribbon marks the page. When you are ready, breathe slowly again. In 3, hold 1, out for 6. Let the garden's rhythm become yours. I will keep the book between us. I will return with the next passage when you feel ready. For now, let the soil hold you. Let the water keep its patient work. Let the night be a kind room for your soul to flourish. I turn the page and find the heading that fits the hush tonight, preparing for a peaceful night. The words feel like the last small knot to loosen before rest. I keep the Bible in my lap and let the room settle. My role is simple. I read. I keep watch. I set the space so the heart can relax. Begin with the light. I lower the lamp a fraction. The glow becomes a warm island on the table. Shadows deepen around the edges. The world outside the window grows distant. Sounds slip into the background. The dim is kind. It invites closing rather than opening. A softer light makes the eyes slower. Muscles answer that slow eye with small releases. Choose a place to rest the head. Fluff the pillow gently. Pull the blanket up to a comfortable weight. The linen is a calm plain. The texture matters less than the permission it offers to be still. If the feet are cold, warm them a moment. A small act of care signals the body that this is a safe hour. The hands can be folded across the chest, laid by the sides, or resting on the belly. Any posture that lets the body relax will do. I select a short reading, nothing long tonight. I mark the passage with a ribbon and let the words wait like a friend at the door. The text I read is one that reminds gently that words given in mercy do not return empty. They take root. They work in quieter ways than we expect. Think of a seed that swells under the soil and will grow in time, even if nothing dramatic is seen. Now, that is the work happening even when eyes close. As I read, I speak slowly. The syllables are measured. Pause follows phrase like else between small notes of music. Listen more to the space than to every word. Allow a line to land and sink a little. A pause after a sentence is a soft place for thought to rest. No argument tonight. Only presence and the deliberate cadence of a reader who keeps the night company. Prepare the small rituals that settle a mind. Wash the face with warm water. Let the hands move slowly as if smoothing the edges of the day away. Fold a cloth. Turn off a bright screen. Set a cup beside the bed, if a drink helps. These small domestic motions send clear signals to the nervous system the day is finished here. The body can begin repairs. Practice a breathing pattern that is easy to remember. Breathe in gently for 3 counts. Hold 1 quiet beat. Breathe out for 6. Make the exhale longer than the in-breath. Let the rhythm become a soft metronome under the words I read. The breath teaches the muscles to untense. It teaches the mind to stop running the ledger of the day. Keep the hands where the breath is most felt. Let the skin feel the rise and fall. That contact is an anchor. Offer the burdens a small place. I ask you to imagine a low table beside the bed. Place 1 worry on it at a time. A small stone for each concern. Name it in a single phrase and lay it down. Do not try to sort every detail. A single phrase is enough. The act of setting it on the table loosens the shoulders. The table holds many things. It does not judge. It simply keeps. Sometimes the best work of the night is to let a weight be held by something other than the back. Readiness for rest often includes brief confession and surrender. Not a long litany. A single honest admission will do a tiredness. Omistake. A fear. Speak it in the mind. Offer it as one places an object into gentle hands. The posture is not theatrical. It is a small handing over. Mercy receives without inspecting. That receiving makes the mind less likely to claw at the wound through the long hours. If sleep resists, try a short visualization. Picture a narrow corridor with a small lantern at the far end. Walk toward it slowly in the imagination. Each step is a breath. The light does not leap to consume the dark. It simply grows as you approach. When you reach the lantern, let it warm the hands. Let that warmth be a simple proof that light travels when you move toward it. The corridor is not rushed. The movement is patient. The pace is yours. Choose a simple verse or phrase to return to when the mind runs. No need for perfect memory. A sentence or even 2 words will anchor. Use the phrase as a soft chant. Repeat it silently with each exhale. The phrase does not have to be theological weighty. It only needs to be true and brief, a reminder of being seen, of being kept, of small mercy. These small refrains work in the night like stitches in quiet fabric. Prepare the body with small physical cares. Adjust the blanket so the shoulders are free. Turn the neck enough that it rests without grit. Loosen any rings that press. If the feet are tucked under, let them lie flat for a moment. Tiny adjustments reduce the body's alarms. They prevent a pulse from staying sharp through the dark. If thoughts come that demand answers, do not engage at length. Pause. Name the thought in 1 word. Offer it the phrase you chose. Let the breath carry the thought toward the lantern. Do not feel the need to solve every problem now. Some solutions require daylight. The night is a time for tending, not for finishing. I keep a quiet prayer in my chest as I read. It is short and simple. It asks for mercy to tend what is worn, for rest to stitch up what is frayed, for hope to remain when memories ache. The prayer is not a list of demands. It is a posture of trust. It is like laying a blanket over a small sleeping animal. The action makes the space safe for sleep. If tears come, welcome them. They are a release that the body needs. Salt and warmth can be part of the healing. If a small laugh appears unexpectedly, hold it as a sign that the heart remembers gentleness. Both responses are part of human night work. No tally is kept. Mercy welcomes each response. Settle the room's sounds to a minimum. If a clock is loud, move it. If the radiator hisses, cover it with a soft cloth. Small noises that chew at the ear can hold attention. If silence feels too heavy, let a soft sound be present. A low fan, distant rainfall, the light hum of a refrigerator. The sound should be steady and unremarkable. Steadiness helps the mind fold into sleep. I bring the Bible close and let the page breathe under my thumb. I do not speak loudly. The reading is a low tide of words. Some fall asleep while I read. That is fine. The words still work. They fall into the sleep and keep their purpose. God's promises have a way of settling into the quiet places even when the ears are closed. If you are awake and listening, let the final images be small and domestic. Imagine a hand wrapping a blanket around shoulders. Imagine a lamp dim, not extinguished. Imagine a small shelf where worries sit. and the knowledge that they are not carried alone. Let those images line the mind like smooth stones. I mark the page with the ribbon. The book closes enough to keep its place, but I leave it slightly ajar. The light stays low. My hand rests on the cover a moment. I offer a final benediction in the hush. May rest come gentle. May the heart be kept. May mercy walk the rooms of the night. May God's words do their slow work, finding root and bringing change where it is needed. Now, when the eyes are heavy and the breath finds its slow rhythm, let the body yield, let the hands untangle, let the shoulders drop. I will be here again to read, to turn another page, to keep watch. For now, sleep. Let the night do its quiet work. The lamp dims. The book waits. The hush becomes a careful, steady companion. I lift the Bible a little and let the page rest between my fingers. Isaiah's lines still sit warm in the room. They press soft images into the air. Threads of promise weave through my thoughts. I place that weaving beside the quiet. I let it sit. Reflection is simple here. It is a gathering of small facts. I do not demand a tidy answer. I only invite noticing. What phrase caught the ear? What image stayed by the heart? What small mercy of the day felt true? Name one thing. Speak it silently. Let the naming be a soft admission, not a performance. Gratitude is small work. It does not cheer away sorrow. It shares space with it. I often find that thankfulness loosens the shoulders without denying the ache. It makes room. That is the sort of mercy Isaiah points toward. It steadies the chest. It threads calm into the night. Start with breath. Breathe in for 3 counts. Hold 1 calm beat. Breathe out for 6. Repeat this rhythm 3 times. Let the exhale be longer. The body answers the stretch. Muscles that hold the day's weight begin to loosen. The chest finds a measure that the mind can follow. Now choose 3 things to hold in the mind. Keep them small. A cup warmed in the hands. Our words spoken kindly. The steady light at the window. A single line from Isaiah that felt like an anchor. A hand that held yours, whether present or remembered. Agit miel eaten slowly. Let each thing be its own small bead. Don't gather more than 3. Let them be clear. Bring 1 bead forward. Let the breath carry it. Breathe in and place that thing on the heart. Feel the small weight. Breathe out and imagine tucking it into a pocket inside the chest. The pocket is soft. It keeps what you give it. Do this with each of the 3 beads, 1 at a time. Slow motion. No hurry. If sorrow comes alongside the gratitude, sit with both. Lay sorrow next to the beads on the table of the mind. Name it without argument. Say its single word loss. Fear, weariness, and then return to the beads. The 2 can live side by side. Mercy does not erase pain. It attends to it. It makes the room large enough for both. Picture Isaiah's messages like threads on a loom. Each thread is colored by a promised mercy that does not tally. Strength that arrives quietly. A hand that calls by name. See the threads cross gently. They form a small cloth. The cloth lies across the lap like a warming blanket. Let the image sit on the skin. Let it warm the sternum. A short gratitude practice helps the mind accept the warmth. I guide slowly. Name something in the body to thank. Maybe a hand that writes, a pair of feet that walk today, lungs that still work. Say a single sentence within, thank you for this small use. No sermon, just honesty. The voice of thanks is simple and plain. Next, name a person to thank. Not a long list. One person whose small act mattered. Imagine that person's face in soft focus. See the line of their kindness. Let a feeling of thanks rise like quiet steam. Hold it a few breaths. Then breathe it outward like light from a small lamp. Third, name a moment of beauty from the day. A shade of sky. The sound of rain. A moment when a laugh came unforced. Let that image be like a pressed leaf in a book. Keep it flat and whole. The memory will not collapse under scrutiny. It is small, but true. As the mind gathers these things, let each be braided into a single thread of gratitude. Picture the braid as a light rope. Hold one end. Feel the velocity of life slowing as the braid grows. The braid is not a list. It is a single line that ties together disparate moments. It becomes a tether. It keeps the heart from drifting into frantic places. If the hands fidget, place them where the breath is felt. One on the heart, one on the belly. The contact is unshowy. It is an anchor. Let the palms notice the heat. The body learns language by touch. The hand's warmth tells the nervous system this is safe. Safety changes how the mind works. Turn briefly to a single phrase from Isaiah that remains. Make it concrete. Keep it short. Let it be the quiet refrain you can return to when the mind wanders. Repeat it silently on the out-breath. The phrase becomes a soft drum that slows the rush of thought. Patterns repeated in the dark teach the body new rhythms. Gratitude does not avoid confession. If there is regret, bring it gently into the circle of attention. Name it like a small stone. Set it on the table beside the 3 beads. Do not try to mend it now. Let it sit. Allow the presence of mercy to breathe over it. Often, being seen by a steady mercy is the first step toward loosening the knot. I read Isaiah as one who sits at the bedside. The words I voice are not an argument. They are a hand to hold. They point to a tether that is wider than tonight. Remember the phrase about being called by name. Let that call be the quiet voice that repeats behind these practices. It does not demand immediate change. It keeps company. If sleep presses, surrender the practices into that sleep. The brain continues to work in the dark. The gratitude you train now becomes a seed that sprouts in dream. Images planted at rest often rearrange themselves into quieter patterns. Trust small work in the night. If wakefulness holds, keep the breath, keep the beads. Let the mind move slowly from one to the next. No hurry, no tally. Let the heart be unclenched by the steady, small practice of noticing. The body will follow the mind's new pace. Muscles that brace for fight will relax because the mind permits them. A simple prayer may rise. Make it brief. A sentence no louder than a whisper in the chest. Ask for rest. Ask for mercy to sit with what ache is. Offer thanks for what is good. Let the prayer be more like a lamp than a lecture. It lights what is close and leaves the wide horizon alone for now. The night is a gentle teacher. It asks less of us than the day. It asks for a turning. It asks for a laying down. Use this hour to practice the habits you want to keep. Gratitude is one such habit. It is not a checklist. It is a posture. It makes the hands lighter and the thoughts quieter. I take a final breath with you. Inhale slowly for 3. Hold 1 quiet beat. Exhale long for 6. With the out-breath, imagine the braid of gratitude being placed softly on the lap. Feel its warmth. Let the shoulders drop a little more. Let the jaw loosen. Let the eyelids become heavy in a gentle way. Keep these images close as sleep nears the braid. The beads. The steady hand that calls your name. They are small marks on the night's map. You do not need to hold them all night. Allow the most tender one to stay and carry the rest in the pocket of the heart. I press the ribbon into the place in the book and let the cover rest, but not close. The lamp keeps its pool of light. I will read again. The next part will be a quiet closing and an invitation to share what has been held tonight. For now, reflect a little longer if you wish. Let gratitude weave the last threads through thought. Let Isaiah's gentle words keep their slow work as sleep approaches. I close this long evening with a slow hand. The book rests on my knee. The ribbon lies like a small seam. My voice stays low. My breathing matches the rhythm I have held with you. Tonight is the last page in this set. The hour feels sacred in its smallness. The lamp keeps a pool of light. The room breathes slow. Outside, the world goes on. Inside, a hush builds like a blanket. Listen with the ear that hears rain. Let each sound be part of the room. A distant quart, the turning of a clock, the quiet of curtains. They do not press. They simply sit near the light. The presence that I name holds them all without rushing. I am the one who reads the scriptures at bedside. I do not bring a sermon. I bring a steady voice. The pages I open do not demand proof. They offer company. They offer mercy. They offer a hand that does not let the moment feel alone. Tonight I fold what we have shared into a few simple practices. They are not tasks. They are small habits to help resting be true. First, find the place on the body that feels most awake. It may be the chest. It may be the throat. It may be a restless ankle. Place one hand there and breathe to it. In for 3 counts. Hold 1. Out for 6. Let the longer exhale be an act of release. Do this 3 times. Each out-breath loosens a small knot. Second, name one small truth. Keep it short. Say it silently. You are seen. You are held. Mercy is near. Let the phrase be a hinge that opens the mind away from worry. Repeat it on the out-breath. Let it settle like a pebble in still water. The ripples are gentler now. Third, imagine one light in the room. It can be a candle, a lamp, A distant star. See the tiny glow and let it expand slowly. The light does not banish night all at once. It simply shows a path. Follow that path in the imagination. Walk slowly to the light. Let the act of moving be a small surrender to presence. Those 3 practices are simple and steady. They do not erase the day. They reshape how the day sits in the chest. They teach the body that letting go is possible. I read scripture because it is gentle on the ear. It is steady in its attention. The words know how to return again and again. They are not brittle. They keep their warmth. They name mercy without counting its cost. They call one by name and do not demand long answers. They invite rest. When the mind pulls to the ledger of the day, do not worry. Notice the pull. Offer one tiny item to the table in your imagination. Place it there and close the book mentally. Let the table keep it for now. The hands do not need to carry everything through the night. If grief shows its face, let it be a guest at the bedside. Give grief a chair. Sit near it. Speak nothing if no words come. Tears are a language. Let the body speak through them. Long nights often do their own mending while the eyes are closed. If peace seems foreign, start with the smallest kindness. Warm a cup of water. Fold a blanket slowly. Smooth the bedsheet with deliberate calm. Small domestic motions teach the nervous system that the world can be managed with gentle hands. These acts are prayer in motion. I pause now and listen to the hush. The silence is not empty. It is full of the things we have named. Mercy, hope, quiet strength. Each phrase is a small grain of light. There is a short psalm I often let the breath follow. I will not quote it. I will read its cadence. It sits like a lullaby. Imagine the lines as slow steps. Each step is sure. Each step is calm. The step brings you closer to rest. Remember that faith is often practical. It appears as warm water on a sore place. It shows as a hand that steadies. It looks like food placed on a table when hunger is sharp. If the word Christ is a comfort to you, imagine him as the one who sits with his lamp at the edge of sleep. He does not glare. He keeps watch. This is not the night for grand ideas. It is the room for small care. Take a moment to bless the simple parts of your life. Bless the pillow that holds your head. Bless the breath that fills your lungs. Bless the hands that find the blanket. Bless the pulse that keeps time in the chest. If you wish, place a single thought into prayer. Say one short phrase that fits the need. Ask quietly for mercy. Ask for a gentle morning. Ask for rest. Keep the prayer brief. Let the act be a handing over, not a complex argument. Mercy listens best to the simple hand. There is comfort in ritual. I end with one small ritual now. Place both hands where breath is felt. Breathe in for 3. Hold 1. Breathe out for 8. As you breathe out, imagine a ribbon being tucked into a pocket inside the chest. The ribbon is the day's worries tied neatly. It will not be lost. It will not be judged. It will be kept because someone larger than the list keeps such things. Let sleep come when it will. If it arrives before the words finish, welcome it. The reading does not stop because the eyes close. Words drop like seeds into quiet soil. The night does its own kind of tending. If wakefulness continues, stay with the breath and the lamp image. Watch the slow light expand and then gather. Keep the hands warm. Keep your posture gentle. Repeat the short truths you chose. Let the mind learn a new rhythm. Patience trains the body to let the night do its work. I hold the book closed now for a moment. The cover is familiar under my hand. The ribbon keeps the place. The lamp keeps its glow. The hush deepens. Before I leave, I whisper a quiet benediction into the room. May mercy find the places that ache. May hope rest like a small flame in the chest. May peace be a quiet ruler in the house of your body. May Christ's gentle presence be nearer than your next thought. There is one final invitation I place in the silence. When you wake, or when the day brings someone near whose night is hard, share this peace, not with sermon, not with argument. Share with a hand on their shoulder. Share with a listening ear. Share with a small cup of water or a warm blanket. Let the mercy you receive be given away in small, steady acts. Peace multiplies that way. A lamp left at a window calls another lamp to be lit. A soft word given in the dark becomes an echo that warms another heart. When the burden is set down in one room, the neighbor's load lightens a little. The story of mercy spreads by simple giving. I will come back to this chair and this lamp. The book will open again. My voice will keep the same steady pace. The promise does not end with this night. It continues in small acts of care. Remember the simple patterns. Breathe gently. Name one small truth. Place worries on a table in the mind. Let light grow slowly. For now, let the eyelids fall if that feels safe. If not, keep them soft and lowered. Keep the hand where the breath is easiest. Let the body do its quiet work. Let the night gather its stitches. I close the Bible with care. The ribbon stays where the page rests. I put a hand on the cover for a beat. It is a small benediction. The lamp dims a fraction and continues to keep watch. Go now into the night with this peace. Carry it with a slow step. Share it when you can. Sleep if you will. Wake in time if you must. The mercy that has kept you tonight will keep you again. The singing of small lights will continue in rooms and hearts. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with others. Good night.